This episode is sponsored by Penny Appeal South Africa. Penny Appeal South Africa is a dynamic humanitarian organization dedicated to breaking the cycle of poverty through sustainable, life-changing programs. From providing emergency relief and clean water to supporting orphan care, education, and food security, we empower vulnerable communities with dignity and hope. Our innovative, cost-effective approach ensures that small contributions create a big impact, transforming lives across South Africa and beyond. Join us in making a difference, because together, we can turn small change into a powerful force for good.
Coming up on this episode of the Mindscaped podcast.
Remember, you guys should actually think about one together.
Yeah.
Abrahamic Accords. Or the Abrahamic Accords.
Beyonce, South Africa, Ellen Zilla.
Woke comedy and politically correct comedy is not what made comedy popular. There was these dark rooms in York basements where people are saying wild things.
You can actually get the numbers up higher because he takes off his clothes.
Yeah. Oh my. I wouldn't advise my kids into entertainment in general.
It's haram.
It feels the selection of who makes it is quite arbitrary. Hey man, why are you embarrassing us?
At least wear a cap.
Like, what? She says you got a big patch there on TV now. I said, but she says put polish. How many of those people sitting there do not care about the people of Durban?
Oh yeah.
We are absolutely screwed by this ethnic municipality again and again. Integrity is a currency. To any political party who might watch this, you have me to market to. I'm available.
I've seen families sell off body parts to overseas gangs just to eat. I've seen mothers force their daughter into prostitution.
Education is prioritized in some kind of families, but it's not a general.
I should train myself only for God and my parents. Anyone else can go to hell.
Yourself,
Anyone else can go to hell.
Yeah. Listen.
Subscribe today to help us make more fire content. This is Mindscaped Podcast, hosted by Shaheen, the unfiltered. He says the things everyone's too scared to say. Nazir, the diplomat. He is always trying to stay politically correct to keep the peace. Together, they tackle the topics that actually change how you think and make you start the much-needed conversations.
We would be called global influencers now.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah. So well done to us, well done to our supporters.
Mindscaped Podcast. Escape your mind.
Welcome back to another episode of the Mindscaped podcast with me, Nazir and Shaheen. We are back in studio, and this time, again, a comedian who I've known for a very long time. We've done some shows together. Carvin H Goldstone.
Yes, you were rapping and telling jokes. He used to be a rapper, rap the faith.
Yeah.
And I used to be a rapper, rap my faith.
Your faith, yeah. I still remember.
You guys should actually think about doing one together.
Yeah.
Abrahamic Accords.
Yeah.
Or the Abrahamic Accords. Abrahamic belief system.
Saudi will be happy with
Those
us.
were interesting times because I always say that when you choose like a religious medium for your music, bro, you choose a hard part because you're not just converting people like to what you're saying and to your faith. You're converting them to the art form altogether. Because a lot of people already have ideas about what hip hop is.
Yeah, they know
it is.
it
And now
is.
you have to convert them to this first and then to, and so you kind of you hope that they listen and say, oh no, but he's talking
The right stuff. I still remember I was in massive stage, 5,000 people in Cape Town.
Oh, look at him just selling out.
And
Such a show.
no, but it was like everyone was
Beyonce
there.
there. Just tell us that was
Beyonce of South Africa, Ellen Zilla. And so she comes on the mic, she's like, it's the first time I ever heard of Islamic hip hop. Like, what is this?
Oh wow. She actually said
She
that.
actually was like,
So are you saying the DA endorsed you?
there
Wow,
we
there
go.
we
I got
go.
my stamp of approval.
Yes. Oh.
Sure. Yeah. So Carvin, it was great to have you on. I mean, we've been following you online. You're not the most safest person. You're quite controversial and stuff. I mean, that's what everyone says about Mindscape podcast. We're controversial.
You guys also.
But we don't like that word. We like the word of saying that we want to talk about important issues that have a great impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
And whether it's religion, whether it's about politics, whether it's about culture, all of these things matter. And the number one thing we leave people with our podcast about in the end is some solutions. So we can complain and we can talk about all the problems in the world, but we need to leave them with some solutions and ways forward. And I think that's what this conversation, I think, would really lead to. So we were having a conversation prior to this, and we were talking about comedy in itself and the various players in the game of comedy in South Africa. Mm-hmm. Would you say, firstly, South Africa has one of the best comedians, like in terms of quality, from a South African perspective? Or global perspective, rather?
From a global perspective, no, I wouldn't say that. I know some comedians think that, but I've performed in many places around the world.
So where would you rank South Africans?
An emerging scene. It still feels like an emerging scene.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that because of the content? That's because of experience?
Like, let's just look at it this way. Can you go out tonight and watch comedy?
No.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't.
There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So in any industry, you have to judge it by those sort of metrics.
Is that in Durban or in South Africa? What are we talking about?
In Durban, like tonight, we're doing this podcast in KZN.
Right.
The KZN has what, 20 million people or something like that.
Right.
If any of those 20 million people wants to go out and watch comedy tonight, they have nowhere to go.
Thank God for YouTube.
Exactly, right? So a lot of it lives on YouTube.
Yeah.
So for me, it's an emerging market. But do we have really good comedians in the whole group? Yes, we have exceptional comedians in the group. But I wouldn't class South African comedy as like top tier. No.
So it's only Trevor who's really made it out.
Trevor's great. Riyad's great. There's Luis Ogola's great. We got some really good like minds and thinkers. But I would say there's a lot of middle ground and there's massive gaps in between, like different levels. So after that group is a gap, and after that group is a big gap. Because comedy does require exercise. So you need to be on stage all the time. And like I'm saying, if you don't have many stages, if you don't have a gym, how do you build your muscles, kind of thing? And so some guys are just, they have a bit more opportunities because they have their own audiences, they have their own brand. So if you have your own brand, you can be on stage more, so you can get better. So it's almost tilted to those who are already doing well and have built their brands to improve themselves because they've got more opportunities.
But do you find those that have already built a brand helping those that are still up and coming?
Yeah, there's a bit of that. You can only help so much because comedy really is I always tell the young comedy. I used to run a thing called the next generation of comedy. In KZN, and I hold shows, and like literally over the years, probably hundreds of people came on stage and you made it through. But comedy is something that you really have to figure out on your own. You have to figure out your voice. You have to figure out your own voice, and that takes sometimes 10 years because in the beginning, you can perform in a general comedy voice, generic. You can even perform in somebody else's voice, your favorite comedian. And you like that person so much that if I went on stage, I'd be more in that style.
Like Bill Burr.
Yeah, and you kind of find yourself Bill Burring your way through it in the beginning, and then you go, and you find, that takes time.
Yeah.
Not everyone gets on stage and knows who they are. And that comes down to how you were raised, comes down to your family structure, your religious affiliation. There's lots of little, like, variables that determine your voice. And so, know thyself might take a while to know thyself.
Do you get Christian comedy? Like, I know we get Muslim comedy.
Yeah, you get Christian comedy.
Is it?
Yeah, some very good ones.
Is it?
There's a guy, his name's Michael.
What do you mean Christian comedy?
Like how we have a Muslim comedian, how Riyadh would be known to us as a Muslim comedian, even though he's in the
Okay, got it.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I never watched Christian comedy. I just don't know.
Yeah, so I wouldn't classify Riyadh as a Muslim comedian as much as a Muslim who does comedy.
Yeah, okay.
Cultural comedy.
I'd call him a Muslim who does comedy. As opposed to
I think
comedian.
the reason why a lot of Muslims are so attracted to him is because he intertwines the culture.
Yeah.
So not so much from a religion point, more a cultural point, but he talks about biryani. I remember 100%. Your first one where I saw on I think it was WhatsApp.
Yeah.
You were talking about biryani.
Yeah.
I was like, who's this guy? It was amazing. That's what I first saw you.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of a cultural.
It's cultural,
understanding the culture a bit better.
Okay.
Yeah. But you do get religious, like a Christian comedian.
Yeah.
Who uses his comedy as an extension of his faith and doesn't really do secular stages. You won't find him in a bar.
Okay.
And he performs in churches, youth gatherings, church fairs. You do get, there's an entire industry of that.
But then they're quite limited. Like
Not really.
What's the boundary line for a comedian?
Sure.
How far do you go? Like, can you pick on someone who has a disability, war, like what's the no-go
Dave
zone
Chappelle.
here?
Dave Chappelle is your
Hey,
limit.
you know what? It's a very subjective thing. Like, what's a no-go zone? Because
Is it based on each one's own morality, or
I wouldn't even say it's down to morality, because morality is also subjective and it's a moving target. Like, I think if as long as it's funny, you can get away with it. Like, if it's really funny and really well thought out.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll even think, I'll tell you a crazy thing that happened to me. Not far from here, there used to be a comedy club called New York Comedy Bar here.
Yeah.
On Windermere Road. And the day the Boston Marathon happened, there was a bombing.
Yeah.
The literal day, I had the show in the evening. And I thought, I'm going to go talk about this bombing. So I get on stage and I start talking about this bombing. The premise of the joke was you ever been in like gym or in a race and you just can't wait for this to end and you're hoping something can happen, like you can just be like done. And like you're struggling, but you're so embarrassed to stop and you just hear boom, you're like, oh, that's me, I'm done. So that was a joke essentially. I was literally, I was writing it on the go, on my way to the gig.
How did it form?
So when I got on stage and I started talking about the Boston, like the crowd went, no. And I said, no, just wait. And so by the time I got into it, they were like, no, they were like done. They were almost like, do something else. We never come to see you make fun of people who died. Yeah. But so what did I do? The next day I had a gig in Davenport at Amsterdam. I did the same joke. I just realized that I didn't introduce it. I didn't
preface it.
I didn't preface it properly. So all I did is I was more sincere towards the people that died. The fact that they died is not the joke.
Yes.
The joke is me in that situation, how this can work out. And it went completely different. And so, like, you might think, oh, joke about people dying is wrong. And I'm like, it might be how you introduce the topic to the audience. It might be how you frame it. Framing is very important.
Yeah, framing is.
And so you be like, oh, can you talk about, like terrible things like murder, or, well, can you frame it in a way where people can be like, okay, we're on board. And that's the power of comedy. Like laughter, when you laugh, right? Laughter's a fit.
Yeah.
It's not a controlled thing. You can't fake laugh. You can only fake laugh if you're faking it, but you can't laughter is your body's response to information you receive. And you don't know what to do with that information, so you kind of giggle out, right?
Right.
So if I do a piece that you morally are not supposed to enjoy, and you've enjoyed it, you're laughing, you're like, oh my God, you're laughing at this. That's great comedy. Because it took you out of your own moral structure. And that's why people go to dark comedy, and that's what made comedy popular. People don't realize that woke comedy and politically correct comedy is not what made comedy popular. What made comedy popular was these dark rooms in New York basements where people are saying wild things. Yeah. And people would go in and be like, let's go down here. It's like almost like, like kids when go smoke outside. It was that sort of energy. Yeah. And it was dangerous. Yeah. And a comedian could pick on you. And he's going to say things here that you'd never read in a newspaper or you'd never heard here in your home. That's what made it special.
Somewhat like the podcast of today.
Yeah.
Except those things live and I always say to people are like, oh, you said this on a podcast or in a tweet. I'm like, yeah, the context is lost. The context of a comedy club. Like you take those words out of the context, you put them on a newspaper or on a tweet. Yeah. It's going to be a different thing. You've lost the danger, the fact that it's a comedy club that we expected us to be signed up for this sort of, language. Yeah. So
at the end of all our clips, we got the big context matters.
Yeah.
What's the entire thing?
100%. And in comedy, the context in which the joke is told matters probably more.
So how much a prep goes into it?
Into what? A joke?
Preparing a joke or...
Yeah, so I'm very different to probably all comedians in Africa. I don't write at all. I don't have a book or pen. I write in my head. So I'd say the last 5 shows, stand-up solo shows, I completely write them in my own mind through working through the ideas. So I'll get on stage and I'll think it through and I'll write, okay, we'll go there and I'll tell it. And then
is that the first time you're telling it? Is that the test?
Sometimes the first time I'm telling it, yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll tell it again. A joke takes a long time to refine. You watch a guy. I remember the first time watching some comics and thinking, yeah, this is amazing. A, B, hit. His pause, perfect, blah, blah, blah. And then over time, when I started, I would write a different set, completely different set every time I got on stage because I didn't know how it worked. I thought you have to think of a new 10, 15 minutes and a new. So I got to my first solo show very quickly. In fact, I did 2 solo shows in a row early in my career because I'd written so much stuff. Because nobody told me you can tell the same jokes again. And
not if you're a hardcore fan, then I get pissed off.
But no one told me that's how it works. Nobody told me that Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock has told us, or Seinfeld has told the joke for 30 years. And so what I realized with that, now obviously the drawback is that, I've seen you already, I've heard that joke. But for the act, the beauty is that you will take that long to figure out every moment in the joke. Because a pause can make a world of difference. But you need to know that that's where the pause goes. And you can only feel that when you're actually doing it. And then you can, because you get the response. Yeah, they're laughing, yes, okay. Take time. And so that's why I write in my head, I write on stage. Because in real time, I can tell you that's where it goes. So if you write on a paper, then you have to figure it out on stage. And then you're like, that. But if you write in your head, and you're writing on the go, there's no actual words that you have to follow. So the joke can do anything. So every time I perform, I can tell you the same joke and it sounds completely different because it's not written down. Okay. It's being molded in my head to the audience as they sit there.
So what type of comedian would you describe yourself as?
I think I would call myself an observational comedian.
Okay.
I live in observation of the world and retell that.
All right. And it's generally true experiences.
I literally walk the experiences of my life. Look, I'm saying this about South African comedy in general. South African comedians, we have some very intelligent, very politically aware comedians. And the comedy is not caught up to them and their political and their personal views. Does that make sense?
No. What do you mean?
So their mind is in a space of progression and they're open-minded or they've progressed in their political thinking or racial theory or whatever it is. But the comedy has not caught up to that. So the comedy sounds different to the way the person thinks when you speak to them.
Okay.
One-on-one. So you watch a person and then you speak to them and you're like, there's almost a disconnect.
Yeah.
Because the South African audiences have not caught up in many senses to where a lot of your favorite comedians have progressed. The way a lot of your favorite comedians have progressed over time.
Okay, so you mean
audiences are not caught
progressed
up
in their normal thinking. Life and then in their
mostly in their thinking and how they see.
And so they have not translated that into their comedy
because the audiences will struggle with it. I've seen comedians do it. I've even tried.
But why do you think they struggle with it?
Because this is fascinating. You build an audience on a certain thing. Like you say, you watch me do that. And then you come in, I'm talking about Iran. And then you're like, that's not what I came for. I thought that was So your audience feels this weird disconnect with the person that they connected with.
Yeah.
And where you are in your progression. No. Some of your audience will go with you. They'll travel with you over the course of your career. And they'll progress with you as they progress. I started when I was 22. I'm 41. That's 20 years. People that engaged with me 20 years ago are still engaging with me today and have done the journey with me.
Yeah.
They've had children, they got married, they had divorced, they got married, whatever the case is. They got a job, they've lost a parent. So when I walk through my life, they walk with me. There's people literally that say, I've been walking with you for 22 years. My own life, I've been walking. As you got married, I was in that stage. As I had children.
How does it make you feel?
It makes you feel like you've been given way too much power in this world.
Wow.
Like nobody should have that much power, but you do have it. So what do you do now?
But is this the culture of people to raise people to the level of celebrity? We talk about all this time about this celebrity kind of status, and is it
because
that?
Nazir is quite famous.
No.
Yeah, 5,000 people saw me.
Yeah, 5,000 and Helen Zilla.
And he's a podcaster.
And it's Helen Zilla stamp. I love this rap.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, people I don't understand it. I may have done it as a kid when I used to love heavy.
We don't have a culture, celebrity culture in South Africa.
But we raise people up so high.
We don't.
No, not really.
Wow.
You don't think so?
No.
Not the way in India, for example.
Not the way anywhere. South Africa, you can walk around and people will say, hey, They'll say to me, hey, you're eating post toast and carrying and walking with it. Don't ask for a phone.
Trevor did a joke about
they'll
this.
do that for me all the time. Like, I'll walk in Pick and Pay. These people will shout from the other aisle, what you buying there? And then carry on with their life. They won't ask for a photo. That's not celebrity culture.
Okay.
That's like, I know who you are kind of thing. All kind of brand kind of thing. They have that sort of culture.
Okay.
And South African culture is very weird, like, in terms of celebrities. Maybe you can be famous. You can be famous only in a pocket. In one pocket, you can be well known. And in other pockets, they have no idea and they don't care. Even if you are famous there, they don't care that you're famous there.
Yeah.
You're not famous to us.
Yeah.
They don't care. South Africans, but man, Varas got shot with the guy was wearing slippers. Like, disrespectful on every level. Like, okay, the guy wears slippers and can shoot you. Yeah, they don't, like, there's just no culture of like we think of it. Like, when you think of paparazzi's boss, the most famous person I've ever sat with or interacted with is Trevor by a country mile. Like, literally.
But like proper paparazzi, like people.
No, not paparazzi. I'm saying like where people are like queuing to take photos with them.
Okay.
Go out to
You haven't spent a day with Shane.
we can always do that. He tested too.
Okay.
That's probably like the most I've seen. Like, probably, but Trevor's also not a South African celebrity. He's a global celebrity. Yeah. Like, we're now talking about a different level of things. I remember Loyiso Gola, who is one of the comedians that's done probably the most international work and got a great footprint and like a respected voice around the globe. He was doing a show. I was helping promote a show for him in Durban, and we weren't doing like magical ticket sales. We were doing okay, but I was just like a bit surprised because we'd walk in the streets and everyone would be greeting him, and I was like, yo, Lisa, I don't get it. Like, all these people know you, but like, I thought we'd be like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, but they got no spending power. Like, this is just ordinary people in the streets. They don't have power to go buy tickets. They like, you can be famous and broke in South Africa.
Yeah.
You can be well known and really broke, because if your audience doesn't have buying power, and that's where I think a big difference in South African comedy is. The comedians that you like, if you're a middle class family kind of person and that's your comedian, that comedian's probably going to be doing better than like a generically famous comedian. So if you looked at someone like, for example, Riyadh, or who has a specific market, and you think of the buying power of that market, you're like, yeah, that can work. And if you look at someone like who's just like super popular, like Robbie, I don't know if you know Robbie Collins, like he's a Durban comedian, like super talented, like, but if you try to pinpoint his market and say it's colored people or he's like generically appreciated, but not specifically enough to have like I can do 5,000 seats in Durban and 5,000 Cape Town, which Riyadh can do because his market is so specific. And that's sometimes where the difference lies, is the audience that you choose or that chooses you. I still can't tell you how that works. If you choose them or they choose you, they can determine how you kind of navigate this thing. Are you going to swim or are you going to sink?
So with that being said, in a way, Riyadh's market, what Nazir said earlier, is the religious, cultural target market, which then keeps him on stage in comparison to everybody else who's quite generic, quite general in the comedy.
I think his market is pretty broad. I've been to enough places.
Yeah.
I went to Bloemfontein to do an event at the University of the Free State. And he was on his way there at the theater, and it was like a sold out thing. So he might have started off. So, and I always say this, like I give this advice to comedians. I'm saying, bro, if you Khalid, go after your people at the start. Just go after them. If you Zulu, go after your people. And then if you're good, everyone else will fall in later. But you need a base to work with from the start. So if you looked at myself or Nick Rubanovitz or Riyadh or whoever, their core starting base was probably closer to who they were.
Right.
And then everyone else kind of fell in as time progressed and realized this person's funny irrespective of their like political or religious whatever. Then they kind of fall in. But I think as a starting point, it's a good place to start if you have an audience to talk to, like a community. Let's call it a community, because that's probably the best description of it. Is that if you're from a community, you talk to a community, you're going to have a place to start with. Yeah. Like we're doing it right now, right? This thing has a community. We're not trying to sell this in Hillcrest or in Komashu. We got a community we started. Now, will people in Hillcrest and Komashu jump on board at some point? Probably. But for us to get those numbers up for the algorithm to kick off, we have to have a community to start with.
You can actually get the numbers up higher and Nazir TikTok is closed.
Yeah. Oh my.
Jumps on the desk and does a dance.
We can get some Mindscaped.
We asking them to sponsor us.
Mindscaped.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you this. So who's the arsehole in the industry?
Me.
Why? The biggest?
Pretty close.
Why do you say that?
Because
And you don't need to be honest, by the way.
yeah, because I think no, look, everyone has their own villains in every industry and everything. I think I'm one of those people who can divide opinion. Yeah, which you want to be. I don't know why anyone wants to be liked by everyone. Like, where's the fun in that?
Do you find your family criticizing you, your content?
Oh yeah. Like,
who's your biggest critic?
My son and my daughter.
How old are they?
17 and 10. The baby hasn't started
Are
yet.
they more like embarrassed because you're saying things?
No, not embarrassed. My daughter's very funny. She actually performs with me on stage.
Yeah.
And
really?
Yeah.
How old is she?
She's 10 now, but she's doing since she was 8.
Okay.
My son used to kind of come and just do whatever. And then one day he was like, he does music, he raps.
Okay.
And so my daughter said to her, Cara, he didn't want to do it. So I was like, when I come hang out, she's like, yeah, I've been waiting for you to ask me. I was like, huh? And then I went to go do it. She came back, she'd written out all this jokes she wants to tell.
Really?
Yeah, she's only 8. It's on, you can check it on my TikTok page. You can take a set from her.
Yeah.
And I remember we went backstage after she had her things together. I kind of helped her. Okay, maybe, just that word might not work. And we sat backstage. So usually 30 minutes before the show. And it's my solo show, right? I'm the kind of person who likes to be quiet backstage. I don't like sometimes you go backstage and it's busy. You've been backstage at like Kings and Queens. Or It's buzzing. I hate that. That's like my worst. I like to be quiet. I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to chill. And she was backstage with me. And she sat in the chair next to me. She said nothing for 30 minutes. The two of us just sat there. And I was like, wow. I can channel with this person. She gets it. Like, it's pre-show. It's the calm.
Yeah.
We're about to do it. And and she's kind of figured it out. Like, so I don't know if you can teach timing and you can teach those little things. You can teach them. I think it's more of a feeling. And I think she got the feeling for it. So she's probably the most critical because she's also funny.
Does your wife criticize you?
No, my wife don't really criticize. My wife laughs at everything. Like,
because she's your wife. That's the only reason.
No, trust me, my wife was sitting here now, she'd be laughing like at all of you. She's just one of those people that she lives life in laughter.
That's good.
It's very hard to get it. In fact, that was what attracted me to her.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to, I was married and then I got divorced and married again.
Okay.
Which I didn't intend to do. I had no intention of getting married. So why would you do it again? And I was sick. I come back from Asia, performing in Asia. I came back sick, 2018, just before COVID.
Did you bring COVID?
No, I was so sick.
Yeah,
and I went to the doctor and they said to me, your doctor's busy. You're going to wait for him, he's got about 4 patients. I was like, I'm not that sick. And they said, there's a doctor that can see you now. And that's how I met her, literally. I walked in and I was like talking to her and I was like, why is this person so happy about life?
Your wife's a doctor?
Yeah. And
so you were flirting with your doctor?
No, I wasn't flirting with her at all.
Okay.
I was just like so intrigued by how someone can be so joyful and like just at peace with the world. And so, that's what literally attracted to me. And we've been married together since 2018. So married since 2022. And she's not changed in all these years. She's as laughy and whatever as ever. And I didn't even realize that that's what I needed. I needed someone that could appreciate me being funny all the time. Like, I don't know if you guys are funny in your at home in your life space, but usually it's your partner that goes, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, gets like, ugh. She's not.
I want to hear one of your arguments.
Yeah. Everything joke. And you tell a joke and she's,
Yeah.
My wife's not that person.
Okay.
She's with me.
That's nice.
Yeah, she's on board.
Same wavelength.
Yeah. She asked, why are you not laughing about these jokes?
So your daughter, would you consider going into comedy career? Like you?
I wouldn't advise my kids into entertainment in general
Why?
because it feels
It's haram.
it feels it feels the selection of who makes it is quite arbitrary and pretty random, and it can be a bit of a pyramid scheme.
Oh,
Ooh, okay.
Well, all you have to see is see one of us make it and think it can happen to you.
yeah.
And so you have guys. Hip hop's the same, and I learned this from rapping.
But what about having, like what you did? You were a journalist, and
Yeah.
then
I encourage that all the time.
Okay.
I tell all of them, don't leave your job. Stay in your job. Stay in your job. Do your thing on the side. And if you get to a tipping point where you're losing more money by having a full-time job, make the crossover.
Okay.
But don't throw away your income for this thing. You'll hate this thing. Because this thing, anything that doesn't feed you,
yeah.
and you will start to hate it. It'll kill your passion, it'll kill your drive, it'll kill your creativity.
Who would you say is the best female performer
In
South Africa?
South Africa,
In your opinion?
that's a very good. I like Tinjiwe Mosley. Tinjiwe, she's from here, from Marshu, but she's lived in the UK for a long time, and she's super refined. Her and we were part of an Asia International Comedy Festival called the Magnus International Comedy Festival. So we performed together in Thailand and in Vietnam, I did Singapore and Indonesia.
How was that with language barriers?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Like I can't explain to you, but there are certain South African comedians that doesn't matter.
Okay.
Their content and their approach and the way they think about things, that sort of international space. And she's one of those people. She's one of those people you can drop her she's from Komashu. You can drop her anywhere in the world. And she'll kill it. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, she's special, man.
So, I mean, we spoke about that you're a journalist by profession.
That was my thing.
That was your thing. As in, what type of journalism? I thought it was sports. And
Yeah, I did a bit of sports. That was late. I wasn't a sports journalist. How I became a sports journalist? I was a political journalist, actually. I used to do local government politics. I used to be in city council covering matters there. That was my thing. And I got headhunted to join what was then I think it's still called Independence on Saturday. I was at the Mercury newspaper, and the Mercury, I joined the Independence. And while I was at Independence on Saturday, a friend of mine was working at ETV, and it was the World Cup, 2010 World Cup. They're covering the World Cup, and they'd booked Mike Macabre. I don't know if you know Mike Macabre, the football agent.
Football, yeah.
And he was going to be the analyst for the game. It was Netherlands versus Japan or Korea, one of those games. And for whatever reason, he couldn't make it. And so a friend of mine was working at ETV, said to me, bro, you know a bit about soccer, bro. Please, just help us. You can speak, about soccer. I said, yeah, I'm not an analyst. No one's really going to know that. Especially back then. Now you got all professional footballers sitting there. But back then, any random guy would just be commenting, the team.
Yeah.
So I literally went to do pre-match, halftime, and post-match analysis for a World Cup game.
On TV or?
On TV, bro.
Jeez.
Fresh off the bat, having never been on TV before. Or done sports journalism of any sort. And I had alopecia.
Oh my gosh.
I had a big patch, ball patch on the side of my head. And I remember my auntie, my father's sister from Newlands East phoned me afterwards. You're thinking like, bro, I was on TV. A lot of people saw me. And I see her phone. I'm thinking, she's going to be so proud. Like, we saw with you. You did great. She phoned me. She says, hey, man, why are you embarrassing us?
At least wear a cap.
I said, what? She says, you got a big patch there on TV now. I said, but she says, put polish. And so literally I did that first day, and then they came back to me, and the guy phones me next day. He's like, bro.
Did you enjoy it though?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And the guy phones me, he's like, they were so happy. They're asking you to come back for the rest of the World Cup. I was like, what? So literally I went and spoke to my editor. He says, as long as you finish what you're doing here, you can go do whatever. And my former editor was a soccer journalist in his day.
Yeah.
So he was quite cool with that. So literally I went to ETV and became this soccer analyst for the World Cup. And then about a month later, they offered me a full-time job as a sports journalist, so that was my first foray. Other than that, I'd been a news journalist my whole life.
Which do you prefer?
Which do I prefer between TV and
football, sports, and
sports journalism is boring, man.
Yeah.
I would cover the PSL, bro. There's like life is too short to watch PSL games, bro. I don't care what anyone says. Look, I know people might be fans, but I cannot waste my life watching Learnmore Golden Arrows versus Morocco Swallows. I'm just.
You're not a
what
patriot.
am I doing?
You're not a patriot.
No, I'm not a patriot.
You're not a
And I
patriot.
did it for 5 years. So trust me, when I say I'm not a patriot, I've walked the walk. Have you sat through Morocco Swallows versus? No, you haven't. Don't tell me I'm not a patriot till you've done that. Yeah, so look, it's journalism, writing, great investigation. I did quite a bit of that stuff. I was involved in some,
So you're still doing it?
No, I don't do it. I do my own investigations, sort of topics and whatever out of interest.
So since you were into politics,
Yeah.
where do you think we are in South Africa at the moment?
Okay.
Good place, bad place?
Oh, we're in a terrible place.
Yeah?
Yeah. South Africa's we're in such a bad place. But we're not in an irrecoverable place. That makes sense. We're not like people, the country going to the dogs. It's actually not going to the dogs. It's been going to the dogs for the last 25 years.
The dogs are ripping it apart. That's
somehow it's not really got there. Like you're probably doing better than your parents did. I'm doing better than my parents did. Like if you looked at the trajectory of our lives as South Africans and by generation.
Is that the benchmark?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Progress is the benchmark.
No, as in you look at one generation above you.
Are you doing better? Is the country good to you for the generation that was before you?
But my parents both the teachers could afford a house.
Can you afford a house?
No, really.
Okay.
I started still renting.
Change your job. Change your job.
But you're a
Change your job,
right?
Right.
You should technically be able to, right?
Technically, yeah.
But what house do you want to buy? Where did your parents live?
Yeah,
Where's your parents' house?
Yeah. They lived in Sparks Road.
Yeah. Can you buy a house in Sparks Road now?
Yeah, possibly.
Possibly. Like
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you could probably live, and you probably got more stuff than they had when they were young.
So you're comparing apples to apples as the area to area, so not like...
Look, areas change though. I'm sure Sparks Road is more expensive now than it was when your parents were there because it's more high demand area. But like, for example, every generation, if everyone took a good look, everyone who complains, look at the lives your parents had in South Africa and ask yourself, have we progressed?
I never ever looked at it that way.
And you'll see, there's progress. We have progress. My children live in a world I could have only dreamed of living in.
So instead of what most people do, I think I did it at one point, comparing myself to you, Nazir, and everybody else,
do that.
compare it to your parents.
Yeah. That's because then we can see the progress. Then we can measure, are we moving forward? It's almost like weight loss.
Yeah.
Don't compare how fat I am to how fat you are.
I got
compare myself to how fat I was, baby.
I got Ozempic if you want.
Dealer. Yeah, you have to. And so when I do that, I'm like, yeah, of course it's progress. But are we in a bad state? Yes, because it's not sustainable for us to lose as much money as we lose as a nation through corruption and other ways. It's just not. You can't go on like that. We'll reach a point where it will be like.
Have you been following this commission?
Not really, no.
Fucked.
Yeah. I dip in and out of it, but let me just say this: when I was a journalist, I was a person who was passionate and whatever about the country and all that sort of stuff, and I sat through 2 years of council meetings, and it totally killed my faith.
Really?
Yeah, because you'd sit there and you'd listen to ridiculous things about a tender for toilet paper for 2 million, and you'd be like, okay, this is madness. And then you'd listen to suggestions coming from opposition parties, and the ruling party would completely shoot it down. And then maybe 2 weeks later come with the same suggestion because they can't come from the opposition. And I realized, wow, this whole thing is not actually about the people.
It's petty.
It's got nothing to do with like what's good for the people. It's got to do with egos, point scoring, power, domination. It's got absolutely nothing to do with what's the best thing for the citizens of Durban. Maybe one day, I was saying to my family this morning, how would you all feel if I ran for mayor?
I was just about to ask you, would you be...
I literally asked them this morning.
Yeah.
I said, because the one thing that like really upset me about being in that space was how many of those people sitting there do not care about the people of Durban. Look, the people of Durban, I'm not sure, okay, you don't own a house, right? You're not a ratepayer. But I'm a ratepayer. I'm not sure if you are a ratepayer. As the ratepayers of Durban, we are absolutely screwed by this eThekwini municipality again and again. if they send you a bill for 100,000, they require you to even go pay that and then dispute, or else they're going to cut your lights.
Wow.
So the way the system is structured, I don't feel like the people's interests are first and foremost in the mind of the people that are running the country. And if you look at the options, like who do you vote for? Like in case of
because you said if you'd be as mayor, which party would you have done it?
Which party would you join?
That's a tricky thing, like because I don't
Gaten.
Absolutely not.
I said Gaten was wearing green. Wearing green.
Absolutely not. No ways. Let me tell you something.
Go take a run with the guy.
Huh?
Yeah, go take a run.
Boss. This is the thing, right? Integrity is a currency. Right? We don't think of it. We don't think of it that way. But integrity is a currency, and we trade this currency. I am only here speaking to you because of your integrity that I've known over the years. You only invite me here because you feel I have a level of integrity. And so as long as we're trading integrity, I have to be sure who I'm trading my integrity with. Because you're going to bring my integrity down.
Yeah.
If, Nasjam's associating with Carvin, that makes and so I'm always considering how important integrity is. And so you say to me, who I'm going to go with, that's my biggest question.
Yeah, same.
Who deserves the integrity capital that I've built up over the course of my life?
Can we ask you who you voted for?
In the last election?
Yeah.
Or the previous one?
Yeah, previous.
I hate to say this. No one.
Really?
Yeah. And no,
You didn't vote?
I didn't vote, no.
What was the reason for that? Why did you?
My non-vote is a vote.
But then you shouldn't complain.
Yeah. Then that's
That's
what I said.
fine.
Oh, really?
I'm saying that's fine to think that.
But don't you say vote and then hold that person in power
Yeah.
Accountable?
accountable? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then isn't that a better option then?
It is a better option. It's a better option for most people to vote, choose, and then when your guy doesn't get in, lambaste the other guy who is in.
Yeah.
Fine. Not the way.
Or when the guy gets in, now you put pressure on him. Hey, bro, I gave you my vote. Let's work here.
But then, with that being said, how much is your voice actually heard? Your voice.
Look, the reason I am the
I may not be as a single.
Yeah.
But,
But as a
I've
collective.
got a, as a community.
collective.
But the problem is, South Africa, we're not a collective.
Yeah.
We're all divided.
Yeah, you tell the guy, send an email.
When I say I sat in council meetings and became disillusioned with the process, that's part of the influence. But it's bad advice. I wouldn't advise anyone to do that.
So
and I will vote in the next election.
You would?
But in the last coming up election, I was just disillusioned to a point where I couldn't decide who deserved this vote. Who did you vote for?
I voted.
That's a long thought process.
I can't remember.
I did an ACDP because they were agreeing.
ACDP?
Yeah, that Muslim guy. But he didn't get anywhere, unfortunately.
Muslim guy in ACDP.
Yeah, not ACDP.
ACDP.
No. It's similar to that. Wait, I'll tell you. A something.
AIC. No?
Not AIC, man. But he didn't get anywhere. He didn't even get anywhere.
To be honest, I voted ANC.
Yeah.
And my vote was based on the foreign wars.
Okay.
Which I come to realize I made a mistake with that.
Foreign policy is not important to you?
I think sorting out the shit at home first.
So you voted the DA then?
Yeah, 100%. If I'm getting my stuff sorted out at home first. Because right now I can't be worried about someone else having water or getting whatever if we have nothing.
No, but I think you need to define a local politics and national politics. Because on local politics, yes, I'll give you an example. I always tell everyone this. I've said it to them. Chris Papas was for...
Yeah.
Man, this guy, I would message him at 11 o'clock at night. Bro, I got no water. He'll make a code for me.
So you voted DA local?
Wait, no. That was wait. Here's the thing, right? Chris was amazing. He was DA, right? And part of the LGBT community as well. And
so you support that?
Wait. The point is, I didn't give a crap about all that stuff.
How to torture your audience.
Yeah, I didn't really give a crap about it because he was sorting out even though DA wasn't even ruling Etiquette, right?
Right.
He was still making a plan.
Got there, though.
He was making a plan. He was doing his job. I'll give you the same example. My current counselor,
Who's your counselor?
Ramona, I think her name is.
Okay. What party?
DA.
Yeah.
Total opposite.
Is it?
You would message, waiting for responses. The groups I'm on always
So
complaining.
it's based on the individual,
Wrong information.
not the party.
That's what I'm saying from a local perspective.
Okay.
So I would vote anyone, even though their foreign policy may not agree, but on a local perspective, I know the guy is, whether he's, whatever race, whatever religion, I just want to get something. I got a pothole, I got no water, sort my problem out. That's it, on that level. But when you talk about national, I can't do the same. Because national talks about politics. I was in government for 10 years. I worked in national government, provincial government, and local government. And I know that national has much more power over policies and strategies for all of us as citizens of South Africa and internationally. So therefore, nationally, I disagree with you there. You can't just say, I'll just vote anyone.
Yeah. Look, I will say this. To any political party who might watch this, you have me to market to. I'm available. I'm available to anyone who can offer a great
He wants to
So you
become a
just said
councillor.
no to the
He
PA.
wants to become a councillor.
I'll say no to the ANC too, and no to IFP, and no to
So then who
MK.
will you say yes to then?
Let's just see how this goes. Look,
It's
I
the
think
money.
all of us.
Hey, where's your integrity now?
I considered myself a
I can see you in a red t-shirt.
I
No, he's
consider
got
myself
MK colours
like
right
an
now.
orphan, like like a political orphan. I don't know if you think of that concept,
Yeah.
because most people have a political home. I came from a home that was very divided. My father was an ANC man. He wore Mandela shirts in the 90s when some colored and Indian people still have that mentality. Oh, black people can never rule this country, kind of thing. Not to say that some of them don't now.
Yeah.
And my mother was a DP supporter. Remember the DP? The
What
DP.
is DP?
Oh, guys, the NNP, the
Devon
NP.
Poison.
No, the Democratic Party and the New National Party
Right.
merged
Yeah,
to
right.
form the DA.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
How old am I? I'm surely I'm younger.
I heard of DB, but I just can't remember much about it.
Yeah, I also
Yeah.
slipped my mind.
Tony Leon was the original leader. of
Tony,
Tony Leon.
yeah.
And so I grew up in this house where there was these two differing ideas. And so
That's completely opposite though.
exactly. And so that's why I am a lot more, I don't have a political home, because I'm like, hey, show me what you got to offer. You'll have my vote. But I don't feel like anyone showed any fire this last few elections. What did the ANC say that deserved my vote? Honestly speaking.
Nothing.
What did the DA? The DA is a difficult party.
Do you read all of the manifestos?
I do read some of them, not all of them, but I've read.
I thought the EFF's manifesto was one of the best.
Now the EFF, for example,
From
for
a
me,
manifesto,
the EFF
not
would
management.
probably be the closest to what I think we should be doing as a country, because I do think that we have to face the reality that a lot of people are living very, very bad lives,
Oh, yeah.
and
Majority of
we can't go on like this. It's not sustainable. You know, when we had the looting, remember when we had the looting? A guy who owns a. You want to check out something?
No, carry. I'll just.
There's a guy who owns a oil business, and he invited me. They looted his business. Just come. I was doing videos and just chatting to people about it, and he said, "Please come through." And I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll come through." And they looted his place, not because he had anything to steal, because it's oil and what they're gonna steal there, to steal all his chairs, because he had these chairs like we're sitting on now. And they'd looted the Bidvest Foods, and they needed trolleys. So they came and stole all the chairs to load them with food to take wherever. And he said to me, so when I got there, he was repairing the place. He had guys working, welding and all that. And he showed me the trucks, and he took me, the whole place was burnt to pieces. And he said to me, see these guys that are working, they're from around. So when they might have even been involved. But he says, as a business owner, I have to think, what is a sustainable way for us to move forward? We can't keep keeping to ourselves. We have to move a little to the left and say, okay, let's give more people access and opportunity and equality. Because if we keep hoarding for ourselves,
But how do you give more people access opportunity?
Well,
from a business perspective.
in his case, he was saying, these people that live around you, let them do all the work. That's one way of him. That was his practical way of doing it. Was to say, let's open those access to opportunity. Instead of getting this big corporation and this bra of yours, let's give these people that are affected, that are living on the doorstep of our thing, of our factory or our business, let's make sure that they are able to eat from this business that lives in the same space as them. Because you have to think to yourselves, South Africa has to find ways to redress the situation that we are facing. Like you and I, the three of us don't live in real South Africa.
Yeah.
We live in South Africa where we go home and there's food in the cupboard.
Yeah.
There's food in the fridge. We jump in our cars. We're not in the majority. The majority of South Africans are not living like us.
When
we can have this
when
weird
I go with the
perspective.
team out to see Penny
You know this. You know this. This is your life. You know what the real South Africa is like. Just tell me what the real South Africa looks like as you engage with it.
Oh. it's hard. It breaks your heart.
Mm.
I've seen, I'm talking about over the years, I've seen families sell off body parts to overseas gangs just to eat. And then they'll give you panado to sort yourself out. I've seen mothers, I'm talking about across the border, different provinces. I've seen mothers that forced their daughter into prostitution to feed the rest of the family. How old do you think the daughter is?
Probably under 12.
14, 13.
Oh, gosh.
Starvation, I've come to realize I can't blame a man for stealing if he's starving. I really can't. Because I've seen what it does to you. I experience it daily. 100%.
What if we should do?
What would you do if your kids are starving? What would you do?
Steal as much as I can. I think we all...
You're not doing it because you want to become rich. And I'm not just... Please,
or because you want to be a criminal.
I'm not justifying stealing. I'm saying I understand why certain people would do that. And a lot of people that do that are not doing it because I want to become rich and famous. I don't have this thuggish lifestyle.
I was in Amahoti with the team.
Yeah.
We were doing a video of some of the orphans that we help in their homes. And I went there and so I had all my camera equipment and the mom is telling us a story. The girl just comes from school and she sees us and she waves and then we're still talking. And I was telling the mom, open your cupboards and I'm going to give you the food. And I swear to God, there was nothing. Not a morsel of food in that home. I'm scratching my head like, what's going on here? So anyway, she grabs the hamper. She's very excited. The kid sees it. Kid comes in, strips her clothes in front of all of us, jumps in a little bucket outside, has a shower. I'm like, well, this is open. Men are walking past. It's like, what's going on here? She comes back in, she put some clothes on, and she's all excited to see us. And then I asked her, Mom, like, what were you going to give the child today if we didn't come? So she's like, no, don't worry. You'll feed her in the school at the breakfast club in the morning. So she gets a meal of porridge. In the afternoon, she goes to the madrasa and she gets a sandwich. So you'll help her there. So she's done for the day. And for me, I was going to buy 5 rand a maize meal. That is the reality.
The problem in South Africa, I think,
is around the corner from us.
Lack of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lack of skills.
No.
It's a lack of opportunity. And because of what the country is going through, trajectory, politically, opportunity. I'll give you a perfect example. I do work in Zimbabwe, right? Would you believe if I tell you every Zimbabwean that I've met has either 2 or 3 degrees?
Yeah.
Right?
I can believe that.
Zimbabwe has the highest literacy rates, if I'm not mistaken, in Africa.
Yeah.
And has the best boardings, I think ranked top 5 in the world, boarding schools and private schools in the world. It's top 5, if I'm not mistaken. So half of Zimbabwe, half of Harare, or most part of Harare, is white foreigners because it's cheap to send their kids to those schools. And Zimbabwe's public schools, not infrastructure, system, is better than South Africa. So literally everyone's educated. The problem with Zimbabwe is there's no opportunity because the country is sanctioned. Not to say that they don't have a degree or they don't have the skill or the knowledge to do what they need to do. No, they have it.
But the jobs are not enough.
The problem is there's no jobs, there's no investment, there's no one in the country. So you have a lot of starvation, you have a lot of... I mean, even in Zimbabwe, the 1 year I went to, they said, hey, it's bad for you to become a criminal because the country's running out of food. Don't become a criminal because you're going to go to jail. They're not going to feed you.
The jails don't even have child.
There's no food.
Wow.
So you'd rather stay out. So don't commit crime because you're going to starve on the inside.
And that's why
That's a total opposite of South Africa. It's like, hey, go inside and get a job.
So as much as we say we need to give people opportunity, how do we give people opportunity if businesses themselves are not allowed, don't have access to? I'm talking about small to medium.
Yeah.
Don't have the capability to grow and infrastructure and funding. I mean, myself and Nazir always debate the concept of BBBEE.
Yeah. What's your position on it?
I'm pro-BBBEE.
You probably
in its theoretical form,
I'm
not implementation form.
I believe because myself, you, and all of us, that's 30 years down the line.
Yeah.
It should come to an end at some point. We all I pay the same tax as you. So if you get an advantage from me, if you get
I don't know if I'm paying the same taxes.
whatever it is, if you get the same advantage, if you have the advantage of getting ahead than me, then you should be paying more tax than me. In all honesty, I shouldn't be paying the same. There's a system that I read a while back. I think it was one of the European countries, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was France.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. When you apply for a job, on your CV, your name is not there.
Tax number.
There's a number that's given. Your gender is not there,
Okay.
right? Your sex is not there. Nothing. Your religion is
Age.
not mentioned. Age is not mentioned, right? And when you apply for a job, so all I see is AB 1, 2, 3. That is it. When I look at your CV, that's all I'm seeing. So I hire you based on your merit, on your expertise, on your experience. I don't hire you based on your color, race, religion.
Or at least get an interview because of that.
Yeah, you get into the door. We need to implement that system in South Africa.
Do you agree with this?
I believe that there is a significant...
Wait, before I finish.
Okay, theoretically, yes, I would.
I think BE only served a very small minority.
Not from
an implementing point.
The policy is good.
It served a very small minority, because if you go back 10, 20 years, most people that have BE companies were part of the struggle. The average man in the township didn't really benefit from that. He's not a millionaire. He's not even middle class. He's still stuck there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it benefits the system. I agree with him. As the system
Do you agree with the system?
Can be improved.
The policy.
The policy
You
can
agree
be
with the policy?
the policy can be improved.
But that would go against what you were saying earlier about.
No, so what I am saying, if it's implemented in the right way, initially 100%. 30 years down the line, at what point do we say, okay, I am a South African?
So you feel it needs reform?
Yes, 100%.
What about you?
What about me?
Yeah.
So I 100% believe that we need to not ignore it, like that some people don't have. I don't think that's the way to go. I don't think we just each man for himself,
Drop it.
survival of the fittest. There'll be nothing left when we finish with this, because we have people that are determined to win capitalism and win the race, own all the shops and own all the things. And we've got entities in South Africa with enough capital to literally crush all of us if we leave it to that. We'll lose. And we've seen that happen. Jeff Bezos, we're all comfortable with him winning capitalism. He can sell us everything. I don't think that's the way to go in South Africa, because I feel like if this is a nation that the people are prioritized, then the majority of the people have to be in consideration when we're forming policies. And so if the big concern we have is that a lot of people, like you guys have pointed out, don't have food in their cupboards, we should be engineering policies that address that, but without us necessarily having to hand things out. And how do we do that? We have to develop policies that, like you said, create access, the skills on how do we create access. This is one way to create access, is to look at people that come from communities that don't have access, because BEs should be about access. It should be not necessarily that you're going to get the job because you're a certain race, but that at least you know the job's available. Living in Europe,
Given an opportunity.
yes, you should be at least know that.
I do tenders all the time, right, for my company.
Yeah.
And I always put the rating as I'm 100% BE, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is that from what I've experienced,
Yeah.
when I look at who gets it,
Yeah.
right, it's not always, it's a lot of time white companies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is this? And then they'll say, okay, they got more experience than me. They
Yeah.
got a bigger crew than
100%.
me. They got a bigger staff.
Yeah.
Maybe those aspects. But I've seen that many times.
How is a white company getting it?
I don't know exactly.
Oh,
Is it because they're board members? So, like, when you say white, like,
That's what I'm saying.
what are we talking about
Implementation of BE
Implementation is very different.
is very different.
You
when it comes to
know,
the
one
policy.
thing I learned living in Hillcrest, right, is that this idea, and you'll see it online, you'll see it in complaints, there's no jobs and they're taking away our jobs. Bro, white people are very well employed in this country. That don't ever feel sorry. If you look at the numbers, and I've looked at the numbers, at the levels of employment per population group, between white people and colored and black people, that gap is massive.
Is that throughout the country or province?
Throughout the whole country, that gap is huge. It's massive. If you look at the number of white people that hold senior executive and higher management positions in companies versus any other group, it's not even a conversation. They're not even on the same page. One is PSL, one is Premier League. The gap between the two.
Yeah.
And, as a performer, as a comedian, a lot of my work is corporate. I go to corporates and sometimes I'll even joke, where's the management table? Must be this one with all the white people around. And they all laugh, because they know that it's true. And so living there, I realized that this idea that we are addressing it is false. It's completely false, because people from groups that have always had an advantage maintained that advantage. They've maintained that advantage for 30 years. So yes, people are saying, oh, the implementation, because you're kind of saying different things about the implementation of BE. You're saying that, for example, in your case, white companies are still getting it despite the policy. In your case, you're saying 30 years later, should we really be looking at the fact that you're black to get it? So you do have a different perspective on this.
Yeah.
My perspective is kind of more of, we need to make sure that whatever policy we're implementing, the people who are doing the worst are at least being told the job is available. And that's where I think we really fail.
But that's just like a rubber stamp. Oh, here's the opportunity. Now bug off.
I feel like it's a starting point at least. Is that because so many opportunities.
But I am getting opportunity. I'm a small company. I'm only 6 years old, right? I've got an opportunity. Actually, so one of the other tenders, I complained because they said you need to be 5 years old. For example, when I was 4 years old, I had all the experience because I've worked for so many years in government, and I had the team and all that ready. The only thing in my company was 4 years old. So I was like, that's not fair. You want an EME, emerging micro enterprise like myself, but then you must be 5 years old. I mean, that just makes no sense. Exactly. See, but I can apply for these. Lots of them I can.
But you see now,
so I make it through the door.
Yeah. So in your case, right, the
I've won
progress,
only 2.
we're discussing the progress, right?
Yeah.
The progress in your case is that now you can make it through the door.
Yeah.
That door was closed before completely. So I'm like, we need to open these doors. Once we open these doors, everyone knows, then we can look at the next stage of implementation. Because you were talking about Zimbabwe. Bro, I got very strong views on Zimbabwe and education and that sort of stuff as it relates to South Africa, which are a little bit controversial. Like, you know, when you think of xenophobia, right? You think of what took place in South Africa, how people were slaughtered, burned. There was like terrible cases of what happened in South Africa through xenophobia. And none of that should ever be like blown over or passed by. It was horrific. However, when people enter South Africa and enter the economy, it's people at our middle class level that look and say, oh, it's terrible what happened. Because the truth of the matter is they don't enter our economy. When people come over the border, they don't enter this space. They don't become environmental. They don't enter entertainment. No, they enter sweets and cigarettes on the street. And so they're in direct competition with people at a level of the economy that we can't really relate to. We don't know how desperate and how fine the margins are at that level. And then, building on what you just said, you don't just bring in people to compete at the street level of the economy. You bring in educated people. They're going to smoke them. They've got economic training. They've got better mathematical skills, better marketing skills. And we've seen that. We've seen it. You know, outside a workshop in town, if you grew up in Durban and you walked past the workshop in the 80s, 90s, there was nothing there outside the Health and Bracket Club Virgin Active space. The African diaspora looked at that space and said, oh, guys,
what's there now?
Why is there nothing here? There's stalls, there's everything. Bro.
Really?
Yeah, you can go buy shoes, things.
I haven't been to the workshop ever since it was burnt.
Yeah.
That space stood for so long empty. Okay. Bro, these people looked at it and said, underneath the bridge there. They said, no, there's opportunity here. And so you have to look at it and say, okay, wow, there's a great desire. So a big part of our handicap is
that local or foreign?
Foreign.
So where's the local?
But that's my point, is that the foreigners that came into the country, they're coming in with a skill level that's higher than the local level. So when you're on the ground level, we're not competing there.
Yeah.
They're not coming to compete with you and me.
Yeah.
They're coming to compete at a level where people are not as...
You're going to like a bachelor's guy doing a bachelor's degree now selling t-shirts.
Oh, he's going to smash this.
He's going to know exactly how to do the market.
Smash this.
Sure. So I never thought about that. Yeah.
So you and I...
Neither have I.
Yeah.
when xenophobia happens, it's quick for us, middle class, from our perch.
Don't hate
this
them.
Is terrible what they're doing. But we've never really actually taken our minds into the mind of a person at a street corner who's now looking at around them and noticing, hey, this
selling a
Maguinia, he's doing it, and not knowing like what strategy, because our education system's so poor. They don't even have like a marketing or to think how can I improve my business. Literally just getting swamped by people around them.
That's what Math Lit is for.
That's what Math Lit is for.
But I mean, you make an absolute valid point. I never thought about it like that. The way, the hood really truly impacts.
So
xenophobia is wrong. We're not saying it's right.
Wrong.
What we're saying is understand where it stems from.
To understand it doesn't mean you endorse it.
Yeah.
Something's happening. You know why it's happening, but you're not saying that.
So how do we fix that system?
The only way to fix it, and this has always been my personal thing,
Is land without compensation.
Oh my God.
What's the solution?
bro. I don't like. We have to think more critically about how we administer education when it comes to budgeting and policies and teacher training. Because you want to know why Zimbabwe is in that position? Because Mugabe prioritized education. He did a lot of terrible things.
100%.
He did a lot of terrible things. But one thing he knew is that
But what did he
education
do differently
must be
about
done.
education?
You
What did he
make
do?
You
sure
put it
that
in the
it's-
forefront.
You put it
By the
forefront,
way,
he did
a lot of people don't know
GCSEs,
this.
A-levels. He made-
A lot of people don't know
Compared to
this.
Cape Town, where they actually reduced
He
it
was a
that
teacher
much.
before he became a politician.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so you absolutely you have to think of yourselves. We're talking about think of your cousins. I always think of Durban's a great microcosm of what's possible, right?
Yeah.
Because and the Indian community in particular, the big difference. So Indian community general, including Muslim, Hindu, whatever, colored community in Durban, have a very similar cultural line that they walk. Talk is the same. The language is the same. The spaces they can merge with each other in conversation very comfortably. No real massive cultural barriers to jump for them. They can even marry each other very easily. So the question is, what's the big difference economically? I mean, why are they so far apart economically? It's because in the Indian home, education is prioritized to a level that the family is almost like education is king. And that's not the case in the colored community. Education is prioritized in some colored families, but it's not a general.
Why is that?
Because there's different ways in which homes are structured that can lead to that. For example, if you have a home where there's a culture maybe of a certain type of work, so trade work, for example, then getting into a trade or getting a job at all is seen as like, this is what you need to do, as opposed to, forget that, you're going to suffer for the next 5 years, no money because you're going to be studying law.
Yeah.
That's a big mind shift. You know,
We'll join the shutdown.
yes, and that's a survival thing too.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
totally
not
agree with
necessarily just like, oh, that's bad.
No, it's not a bad thing. No.
It's like, we need you to go work here so you can also help this household out. My son and I were having this conversation in a week about like, he's in matric, about which direction to go. And I'm like, you know, as much as you think you need to work and make money, like in my mind, I'm like, education can transform your whole world. Think of all your cousins that studied. You know, how some of their lives have transformed from the lives they grew up in, the houses they grew up in. And you want education different, whether they became doctors or lawyers or engineers, their whole life is stable by the fact that they have jobs.
Yeah.
And how they get those jobs through education. So for me, that's undeniable.
Your son wants to go to work.
No, so he's got a few thoughts about it. One is that he's quite into property.
Okay.
And so the question is, do you go into property or do you study conveyancing, or do you do law, LLB conveyancing specifically?
Yeah.
And obviously for me, they're like, yeah, you can get into houses, buying and selling, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm very like pro education. So I'm like, you can do that, but I think a law degree, if you with a specialization in conveyancing, might serve you better over the long course of your life.
Does he understand that?
Oh yeah, he gets it.
Okay,
He
that's
gets
good.
it. Yeah, we like, hey, I'm not sure. Do you guys have kids?
No.
Nothing, bro. Like, one of the best experiences of my life is having children and being able to get to a point where I can chat to them like I'm chatting to you guys about matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been a great journey. It's a great journey to be able to do that.
Fatherhood.
No,
Parenthood.
bro. Like, you know, like last night and today we've been doing puzzles. I got a 1,000 piece puzzle. We're chilling there. We all putting one. I'm like, that uncle, put them all out.
It's funny. I actually saw something online. Did you know you get puzzle competitions?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
So they give you this 1,000 piece, and there's a whole lot of contestants there, and the fastest person to put
To
it
put it
together
together.
wins.
Yeah, it's a skill. This is a bit of a skill. Now that we're doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm chatting and I'm thinking, of how as kids, bruh, we grew up. Our parents mostly growled at us. Go sit here. Go outside. Play outside. They never really but maybe I was talking about myself. They never had relationship. Your mother maybe had one.
Ah, yeah,
But
100%.
Yeah, but your father was
And
like,
then every Saturday must wash the car.
your father was mostly telling you what to do all the
Think
time.
about that. When last did you ever tell your son to wash your car?
No, I've never told him.
But growing up, you had to wash the car.
Yeah, you were told do this. I do. He does have things, but wash the car is not one of them.
No, I'm thinking like what we did.
Yeah.
Like I was asking a while back, I was asking my nieces, do you guys know what's hopscotch?
Oh wow, they wouldn't know that. Oh, they wouldn't know that. Naz doesn't even know that.
This episode is sponsored by Penny Appeal South Africa. Penny Appeal South Africa is a dynamic humanitarian organization dedicated to breaking the cycle of poverty through sustainable, life-changing programs. From providing emergency relief and clean water to supporting orphan care, education, and food security, we empower vulnerable communities with dignity and hope. Our innovative, cost-effective approach ensures that small contributions create a big impact, transforming lives across South Africa and beyond. Join us in making a difference, because together, we can turn small change into a powerful force for good.
Have you been to London in like December,
We
January?
went,
It's a shithole.
No, why would
The
you live
weather's a
there?
shithole.
Why would you live there? It's great in July. I took my kids in July for a holiday.
You're gonna
Safety?
become vitamin D
Amazing.
deficient.
Oh, there was sun for 2 weeks straight.
safety and
What's safety?
potential for a better
Oh.
life for your children.
What safety are you talking about? Did we not witness someone get mugged in front of us in Manchester?
My
Karimad.
sister's husband is Serbian, and so Trevor
Okay.
was doing a show in London in July, and so his manager, I don't know his manager, Ryan Hablut.
Yeah.
We went out afterwards. We were chilling, and then he said to us, "Hey, we got tickets for Trevor's show if you want to come." So my sister, my son, and the husband went. The four of us went to the show. Trevor's brilliant outside of South Africa. Like live outside, he is just Trevor's great in general, but outside, just when he comes to Durban, I think there's also like this little bit of expectation from the Durban audience for him to be something. There, I see him just being great, being himself. And we came back to the car was broken, windows broken. They stole all the Jordans. My sister and I.
Where's this in London?
Yeah. Outside the theater, bro.
Jeez.
They stole all the Jordans. But they trade like things, like we stock stuff. They stole clothes, everything of the car.
Oof.
Smashed the window. They were moving those bikes, those e-bikes. And when some people who saw it, they're like, oh, they were so quick. They came and they smashed it and they just grabbed everything and they ran.
Sure.
I mean, right now, statistically, you guys can go and Google this. You cannot wear a luxury watch in the city of London because you will be targeted and robbed and mugged and most probably harmed.
Yeah, look at those e-bike guys. So look,
I've seen that, yeah.
Crime is everywhere.
I don't know, man. I'm not convinced by some of these arguments.
If there's any country would you go to, what would be?
Probably okay, so most of the countries I've been to, I've never found one.
Nazira go to Thailand.
Huh?
Nazira go to Thailand.
You go to Thailand?
And think about why. What's there?
Happy endings.
To invite people to Islam.
Ping pong ball. Thailand got no real religion or anything. They're Buddhist, I think, aren't
Buddhist,
they? But
yeah.
they got no real
No.
even your morals that you come with, you have to leave your morals at home when you go to
Gone.
Thailand.
Yeah.
Because they're living on their own.
It's free will.
They were never colonized.
Mm.
So,
Really?
they got no one telling them who to be and how to be.
Yeah, you're right, huh?
And what tea to drink and how to put your finger up. They're just living their lives. So you must leave your morals. I always tell people, leave your morals at home. Just go enjoy whatever they are.
So which country would you go to?
To live
Yeah, if you could. With your family.
with my family, that's a different thing.
Yeah, with family.
Because I have to think of children, I got young ones.
Yeah.
So the only country I've ever been to, city where I thought I could live here was Auckland, New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yeah. You know what the big
I
problem
have
is?
cousins there.
Okay, so the big challenge when you're a foreigner traveling is that the world is closing up to immigrants. It's really like
Yeah.
most of Europe, America, they're not really keen
Yeah.
on new people coming here.
Yeah.
You people.
Yeah. Such a racist
But
thing.
I found Auckland, because of the shortage of skills and they've also got their own brain drain. People leave New Zealand because the property is very expensive and that sort of stuff. They go to Australia quite a bit. But it's one of the places they're happy to have you and they're quite happy that you've come to help, whether you're in the medical field or whatever, environmental, trading, precious metals.
But you like the vibe there.
Like the vibe, like the people, the Maori people. The Maori people are very friendly, engaging to me.
Is there a comedy market there for you?
I did shows there last year. So there's a market.
And it shows. How long was the flight?
I flew to
Right. Sydney. From South Africa to Sydney.
Sydney, yeah.
That's
How
what,
long was
18,
that flight?
19 hours?
Yeah, probably.
17, 18, 19 hours. Yeah, because I did that trip.
Yeah. And then
No, but less than 17.
Sydney to New Zealand? Sydney to Auckland?
And Sydney, that's quick. That's 2 hours, I think.
Okay.
That's a quick one. Yeah. And I was only there for a week, yeah. Did the shows, came back. Yeah.
You enjoyed it.
But the type of comedy you
I've
do
been
there,
before.
the type of comedy is not,
That's what I say.
it's not
like,
colored community, like
if you
that
know-
kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a mixture. But if you know what you're doing, it doesn't matter who they are. Like you'll be fine. Like I did my show in Melbourne. I performed at the Melbourne Comedy Festival, which is the second biggest festival in the world from an attendance point of view. Which means if you go into that festival, you cannot come there expecting your people to be there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be random people. And I remember I asked at that festival people that came to buy your show, bought a ticket to your name. About 60-70% of them were not South African. They were just fascinated by, okay, let's go watch this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you have to figure that out very quickly, else you'll come back home. It took me a while to figure that out, though. I remember the first time I went to Australia and I performed majority South Africans. And you know, those orthodox, authentic South Africans that left 30 years ago speak old slang. And hey, what kind of okies? And all that. Like, very like, you know, like, yo, this guy is wearing
Where's your Sabagos?
yeah, pointed jerseys. I even say, I always joke. The most pointed jerseys I've ever seen in a show was in my show in Perth in 2015. I was
Really?
Like, yeah, the pointed.
Those are importing it there.
Sabagos and Poland next with a chain outside. Remember that look?
Dickies.
I was like, I even said to the promoter, why are they dressing like this? Are they dressing because they're like
Coming to
this
see
is
you.
like a cultural night for them? She says, no, this is how they dress here.
They've maintained.
To a point where they refuse to let go of the culture. To a point where they're not even aware the culture's moved on back home.
Wow.
They're not even aware that we don't dress and speak and use certain. But today it's Kombani. People came to the shop thinking, I know that word. I used it in the 90s. Because when he left, that's the words that were popular, like manners and all this.
Yeah.
That's how he talks.
Manners. Oh, I haven't had it in such a long time.
Yeah, they talk like that because 30 years ago when he left, that's how
manners.
how I kind manners. That's how we were talking.
Yeah.
And then when he talked to me, I'm almost like, yo,
What
man,
language is this guy talking?
we are not talking like that no more.
We've evolved.
And they've also got like some of them also have the like a bit of a class thing based on where you live. Oh, those people came from Wenswood. Those people came from. I'm like, yo, bro, we've kind of moved on from that. Like you are where you are, and you progress in life, and your identity is kind of redefined by where you land yourself. You know,
We now live in Hillcrest.
or whatever it is, right? So where you living now?
No, I'm overboard. I'm slow.
It's
Overboard.
almost
I'm
neutral,
overboard.
over the all the time.
He's moved to Cape Town. You see,
All right,
he's
there we
the-
go. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
You're
yeah.
not defined by
He's in the
colors.
upper
Sorry, I didn't move
suburbs.
to Cape Town. I moved to Europe.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah. He's
Like
climbed the
it.
ladder, you know.
And so I found that. But that being said, I found Melbourne very, very like attractive.
Yeah.
The places
Yeah.
culturally, great food scene, great fashion scene.
Yeah, the first night I got to Melbourne, I was starving. So I'm like, went to the hotel, they got no halal food. I was like, okay, walked out. And then I was like, see the store, it says halal on it. And I go inside, order a burger, take it back, chow, no problem. The next morning I'm waiting outside for the train, or the tram.
The tram did.
Yeah, the tram. And I'm like, what is it says 100% vegan? I'm like, what's going on here? Lord of the Fries, it's called.
Oh,
What
yes.
is it?
Yes.
And it's like all vegan food. And I'm like, I ate a burger from here last night. That tasted like meat. It's like, no, it was, you ate a
If
vegetarian.
you're into a certain culture, you'll
Yeah.
be fine in Melbourne. Because Melbourne got something for everyone.
Mm.
Yeah. So Melbourne's great, bro.
I haven't been.
I wouldn't live anywhere at the moment except South Africa. I looked at Ireland for a bit because Ireland had a bit of a, but Ireland's very expensive. They've also closed this. They got a very closed mind towards immigrants in recent years, and so you don't want your children to grow up in a world where you come from, go back, you don't grow up in a world like that. When they come from a world where they're pretty stable and whatever the case is, they seem to be fine.
Yeah.
You don't want to create a problem for them.
Your Facebook says, I am the goldstone that builders rejected. What's that?
Yeah. So there's a verse that says in the Bible, the stone, the cornerstone that builders rejected became the most important like stone.
Right.
Or the stone that builders rejected became the cornerstone or the capstone,
Okay.
whatever you want to say. So the idea that sometimes, like I come from a family. My
Right.
father was an orphan. He grew up in St. Jesus Children's Home in Sydenham. My mother, as much as my great-great-grandfather was wealthy or whatever, grew up in scholar building. All her sisters in one room sort of setup. And so they both my immediate parents come from extreme poverty. My father in particular. My father's situation was so bad. His mum was killed when he was like 4 or 5 years old, and his father wasn't able to look after them. And then all his uncle, no one wanted to take them in. So these kids were all sent to orphanages. And back then, it wasn't really orphanages. There were orphanages for colored kids because of the laws these children are born out of it. So they actually had setups for that. And so he grew up in this orphanage. And even today when I meet people, I'm a Goldstone, I'm like, we didn't grow up with cousins, nothing, because my father was part of the rejected children. So that's what the idea is. Okay. I'm the Goldstone the poor is rejected. I'm the son of someone who was rejected.
Yeah. Sure. But look at me today.
Yeah, kind of thing. My father's not like that. My father's he'll never talk about this. Like, oh, they're rejected. He doesn't live in that sort of persecution mentality.
Yeah. Now, I've been following your statuses.
Yeah. A lot to say.
A lot to say, yeah. What do you think about Drusky?
What do you think about Drusky?
Yeah, and it's Erika Kirk.
Yeah.
You saw that one?
Have you seen it?
Oh my God.
Hey, bro, you know what? At the end of the day, comedy needs to do that. It needs to polarize. This idea of comedy that everyone must like everything is not, like, that's not the point of it. It must provoke.
But in a world that is already polarized, is this not further creating division?
The purpose of it is to provoke your thinking. That's the most important part of comedy, is like to make you laugh. And I never thought of it that way. That's what we want to. That's what I think you want to do. You want to bring people a bit of relief and thinking, because comedy disarms you. I can teach you way more by telling you jokes, because you off your guard. Than preaching to you, lecturing to you. If I tell you jokes and I can slip things in, very powerful.
Yeah. I'm watching this whole Learnmore guy.
Jonasi, Long John. You know that guy's fascinating.
You saw that video about. I literally thought it was.
You know the guy.
I didn't research it. No.
You know the guy.
No.
Bro, let me tell you something. A few years ago, that guy was doing shows on Double Beachfront at the Park View Hotel, which is the most junk comedy spot you could ever do shows at. I'm talking about a few years ago, begging me for open spots. Put me in, can you help me out? Literally begging, not just me, like all over the country. He was this guy who was just like everywhere, trying to hustle here, trying to hustle there, goes there, wins America's Got Talent, or did he win it?
One of the top.
Anyway, you might have got to the top or very close to the top. You got a golden buzzer though. You got a golden buzzer. And then went on tour with Fluffy and blah, 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 and like literally exploded. I was saying to my son, it is absolutely crazy that this guy, this was like a few years ago, I think just the other day, literally, was hustling on Durban Beachfront at a spazza spot, doing comedy to a few people.
Now he's massive.
Yeah, that's the game. Good for him, man.
But now who's going to help him? He's getting sued.
Yeah, you saw the law. It was a bit weird. Like, what are they complaining about? They're complaining that he misinterpreted the song.
Yeah, it's such a cultural phenomenon that you've now abused.
No, I don't think so.
By doing that.
The song does say Nancy Gwenya. Does say there's a lion. That's what he was saying. The song says there's a lion. And actually the joke I first heard it from another Zimbabwean comedian. Called Joshua Ngube. He did it. It's actually on the Showmax special where he actually does there's a lion, Nancy Gwenya. Nancy.
Yeah.
Gwenya, there's a lion. There's a lion. Kind of thing.
So what is the guy fighting about then?
I don't know why Lemo was upset about this. I mean, Learn was not the first person to do this joke. It's like, if you understand, it's a very easy observation to make. It's a very low-hanging fruit like thing. Take a song, put it in literal words. It always sounds out of context.
In a different language, weird. Yeah, it's going to sound...
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, so what are you defending? That it was a great, well-written song? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
A Lion King song is great because of the language and the vibes and the ascensions and that's what it'll be there for. It's like the Ladies with Black Mambazo kind of like, feel. It's not really like, we love the lyrics. Most of us don't even know what it's said for most of our lives.
Yeah.
And then our man, Dr. Patrice Motsepe.
as a future president.
As a future president?
You know what? Let me say
You're the
this.
businessman. You like businessman.
What do you think?
President South Africa or ANC?
South Africa.
Well, both,
Well,
it would be
ANC
both,
and
it
South
would be both.
Come on. He's going to make things right. Your gold price is going to shoot
He'll
up.
win the CAF Cup, yeah.
You don't need that. Oh,
Huh?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't answer that.
Okay, let me answer.
I really
this.
can't answer.
Let me answer this.
I don't think he'll win the presidency, the country.
You don't think he'll win?
I
it?
don't think ANC is going to win next. I think it's going to be a very close call.
It depends who I vote for. That'll be the
Yeah.
deciding
You'll,
factor.
Yeah.
Let me say
you'll
this.
finally vote.
I attended a talk, an investors talk, about a year ago, maybe just over a year ago, at Oyster Box, and they had a financial analyst who was the talker, who was the speaker. Basically, in the room was all these people that have, I think it's like 100 million plus to invest or have invested in, and I was only there as the MC, so don't think in that category.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
But these were seriously wealthy KZN people, seriously wealthy, and they came from all corners, but almost 100% white. I think 100% white. I don't think there was a single person that wasn't white. And this guy, he sat at my table, the main speaker, and we were chatting, and I was talking about the economy. And he's like, I was asking the Uber driver, like, how's business? He says, that's how you find out the economy. You ask everyday people on the road, are they making it through the month? Then you can get a great view on where the economy is, because all those people are buying and trickles up. And he pulled up this graph where he looked at the history of South Africa as a union, from the union to where we are now, over 100 years. And the graph shows you the GDP growth and all that stuff. And then he asked him, you can see it, but he says, where do you think the greatest GDP growth was in South Africa? At what point was South Africa doing the best it ever did in its entire history? Now, I'm not sure where you think that is.
I'm really curious to know.
You're really curious about
Yeah.
the Mbeki years. Outdoes everything from the beginning. There's no year in apartheid.
From a foreign investment perspective,
From an entire GDP point. So, from how we're doing it, how much disposable.
even though he was the most boring president.
That's the thing. He was
He was
boring
stable.
in terms of
He was-
maybe the news cycle,
Yeah.
but in terms of the financials, the Mbeki years were insanely good.
And what did he do differently?
He actually read the policies and focused on economic policy. Mbeki was a reader. That was his. That's why they didn't like him in some sense, because he didn't let anyone just get away with stuff. He would actually read and say, "But why are you doing this? Why you never did this?"
He just didn't read enough about HIV and AIDS, but it's fine.
No, he's very poor on that stuff. he also farmed that stuff off to Manto Shabalala.
Yeah.
But in terms of economics, he was so well versed. Our policies were very good. Now that would be what year was Mbeki the president of South Africa? 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
Early 2000.
I'm not sure if you want to think about your parents or your home or your financial, but he asked everyone in the room, if you think about where you were in the early 2000s financially, how concerned were you about the economy? And you probably weren't concerned because there was so much going on. Think about how you felt during the Zuma years. Think about how you felt during the Ramaphosa years. Yes, there's the more recent sort of bias. I felt that recently. But it shows that the Zuma years, he says the first few Zuma years, you had the hangover from the Mbeki years. The first few Zuma years were really, actually the numbers were still up. And then the slide begins. And you would have thought that bringing in a businessman, that's what we all thought, he makes money, he knows, would change. But it's not been the case. Ramaphosa might be the worst of the lot in terms of expectation.
Yeah.
So Zuma, in some senses, people were like, I don't expect.
But I would think Ramaphosa had the most tumultuous time. We had COVID, we had looting, we had a lot more going in that time. Floods and
I don't know if his leadership style was strong that could have changed anything. Maybe if he was a strong leader of change, maybe it wouldn't have. But he seemed to be very easily, just soft. Just speak softly, behave softly. Maybe that's not a bad thing, but just never really turned like the way we thought he would. Would Motsepe be the same? Would he be different? He'd surely be conscious that we feel like Ramaphosa wasn't the guy we thought he's going to be. What did you expect from Ramaphosa? Not much.
Nothing. Not much at all.
Yeah. No,
But I actually agree with you. If you think about it now, in Becky's time,
yeah.
no one was talking about the economy.
No, the numbers showed. He showed a graph that showed, compared even to you can take for Woods years, Puk Botha, FW de Klerk years, Mbeki was the guy.
So households had more disposable income.
There was more available to everyone in those years.
Yeah.
Those are the years.
You were planning holidays.
Yeah, 2003.
Yeah.
I see. We went to study. We went to education. Our parents paid our fees. Like, things were a lot better than we thought they were in those years. And he managed to really take the economy in a different direction. Now, is it just him? No. There's lots of factors. South Africa's attractive to the world, new investment points. We're making our forays into Africa. MTN and all those companies are deciding to establish. So there's lots of little other factors going on. But South Africa was in we talk about international politics. We were well positioned internationally as an attractive destination. Maybe over time that confidence has been eroded by our policies. Like, if you think of BEE, we can negotiate among South Africans what we need to do. But the Europeans might not look at it that way. The Americans might not look at it that way. They just might look at it as discrimination, irrespective of what our reasoning is. And that can erode the quality. And it has. It has, to a large extent, eroded the confidence in South Africa as an investment destination. They think, so you can be invested there, and if you're white, you can somehow lose just because of that?
Yeah.
Of course, who's not going to feel like that's weird?
Sense, yeah.
They're not considering the full picture of, there was a time when only whites were winning, kind of thing. Or set up to win, at least.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is how many Black, Indian, and colored people did well during apartheid.
A lot of people did well.
A lot. I'm talking about given the structure of the country in terms of opportunities. The opportunities were literally laid up for white people. However, in that are still successful Black, Indian, colored people. That is pretty impressive.
I agree with that.
They owned businesses, they ran things, irrespective of the culture, they just said, well, this is what it is, I'm going to make the best of it.
You agree with that?
We always said...
You agree with that?
We always say that.
I want those uncles that say, things are better than apart. I'm not saying that. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying there are pockets of success in that period. If you ask me what I think about apartheid's bad. It's worse. Period. It's bad. However, that's a very superficial way of analyzing the whole period. So we have to.
It's bad for the majority.
It's bad for the majority, and bad for the majority is bad. However, there's pockets of success in that. I wouldn't even call it a silver lining. It's a dark cloud.
Would you say those people didn't really give a shit about what's going on in the politics of what was going on in the country?
That's how you
and just put their head down and just.
So if you look at Dubai as well,
only way to do it.
If you look at Dubai itself, you would say, it's amazing in so many places. But then you go talk to those who built those buildings.
I was living under the bridge. I went there, bro.
Exactly.
People living under the bridge.
And they'll tell you a different story. So again.
No, okay. So I'm going to say something that might contradict something I said earlier, but it's fine. Because I want you to think about it. Are you familiar with Thomas Sowell?
Tom Sawyer.
Thomas Sowell.
Thomas Sowell.
Okay, so Thomas Sowell, an economist, he trained under the economist Milton Friedman.
Right.
You know Milton Friedman, right? Mm-hmm. Milton Friedman's super capitalist. He believed in ultimate capitalism.
Yeah.
And Thomas Sowell, he's a black guy. He used to be he was a Marxist, and over time, he changed. And he said what changed him was
changed to what?
To a capitalist, I wouldn't even say
a Marx, okay,
and hyper-capitalist. And what changed him, he said, was he was working. I think he was in the labor department in the government, but he's a Harvard graduate. And he said he was surprised how many people were asking the government for help. Right? We need jobs, we need this, we need that. And he realized that because he's working in the department, the government actually doesn't have the capacity to help all the people that think the government's supposed to help them. Does that make sense? So in South Africa, if you go to area and you guys work in those communities, they'll tell you, the government never helped us.
100%.
Government needs a great job. Government, You see, and that's why I said to contradict what I said earlier. But Sowell's observation was that communities that did well, migrant communities that did well, didn't depend on the government. In fact, they did well because they knew the government couldn't help them. So they didn't have an option. So if you know if you know the government can't help you, and he said he realized the government can't help people, not on the scale that people think they can be helped. So where does the responsibility lie? He says then the responsibility then flips to business, individual, private business, and to individuals. You then have to decide, well, if I can't get help from the government, what do I do now? And so he uses the example of migrant communities in America from Italy, Japan, and he used the example of communities that are immigrated to places like Germany. And no matter where you go, migrant communities are doing well, irrespective of where they came from or whatever, they figured it out.
But the difference is, I would say, they are more united in a foreign land than the local population locally. So, for example, just to add on to what you're saying, in KZN, the Ethiopian community does a lot of clothing. Right? Most of the shops down Grey Street and the shop, I think it's called Grey Street.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the name.
Dado.
What's it called now? Yusuf Dado.
Yeah.
But all those streets where we grew up in now is majority Somali, Ethiopian, right?
Abisha.
So I have a friend who does wholesaling of clothing. And he said, what's amazing about the Ethiopian community is even though they all are in competition indirectly with each other, but they all buy as one unit.
Yeah, the Pakistanis also do that.
Yeah. So okay, you have one shop, I have 10 shops. You're gonna give me 100,000. I'm gonna be putting in, but we're buying the same goods.
More powerful together.
Yeah,
that's it. Now in the South African context, we don't really have that. We don't really have that. And
we've
I
got
see
Stockveld, but that's not the same kind.
No, that's not the same. The South African mindset in most cases is, and I think this is, I'm gonna take it back to BBBEE. A lot of people that we've met on the ground, especially doing the humanitarian work, it was like, okay, so and so personalities became a millionaire overnight because he was part of the struggle. He didn't really work for it. I, as a youngster, was looking at him and saying, well, if he can do it, if you gave it to him, you can give it to me. There's no work put into it.
Yes, you're right. However, this might not be the case for South Africans living abroad. And I'll give you an example. I was in New York and in Harlem. They have these street poets or street preachers. They talk about all sorts of topics, conspiracy theories, Black Hebrew Israelites, all these things that go on in the corner. And so I chill there.
What's spoken word?
They do spoken word. Yeah. And so I'm chilling there, and there's this lady. There's this black lady. She looked colored like in African context, but black in America. And these black guys were telling her, you're not supposed to tell your child that they're equal to the Mexican child and the white child. And she was saying, why? But so there was this, so I was just standing on the side observing, right? And she said, because no white parents is telling their child they're equal to the black child. So you should not be like, so this was the conversation. So I just interjected. I can't even remember what I said. But as soon as I spoke, this guy comes and pulls me aside. He says, yo, man, you South African? I said, yeah. He said, follow me. And so completely oblivious to danger, I follow him. He takes me into this alley, down. He takes me into this shop. And in the shop is an old man with a white beard standing behind the counter. And he says, yo, man. And he points to this man. He says, I want you to meet your fellow South African. And the man behind the counter looks at me. And he says to me, where are you from? I say, I'm from Durban. He says, oh, Durban. I'm from Nkandla.
Huh.
I said, Nkandla? He says, yes, I'm from Nkandla. But I've been here many, many years. He said, ask me what you're doing here. I was actually there to rap. And he says to me, he pulls out all these newspapers and publications. And he shows me this community of South Africans in New York, across the state, but mostly New York, how they were intertwined and they were even building projects in South Africa from New York. Because the community was much more connected.
Yeah.
Because they were afar, they were in a foreign land, they needed each other because the government was not their friend.
Right.
It wasn't here to help them. And so, like, in the South African context, I think the biggest lie we ever sold the South African public was that the government's coming to save them. Because for the last 30 years, we've been telling them that lie. People have died waiting for the government to save them, and it never came. And so, at some point, we have to stop selling that lie that the government's coming to save them and tell them, look, let's stop being idealistic about what's supposed to take place. And let's look at what's actually happening and how we can address that directly. What's the problem here? The children haven't been to school. How do we fix that the children don't have shoes. So what you guys do? You fix the problem. You're not idealistic about what you do.
No.
You can't be. People will starve to death if you're idealistic.
Yeah.
You have to be practical.
Yeah.
How many loaves of bread do they need in Amawoti? You actually need to know that. Can we get 10 loaves of bread? That's what they need right now. And so I feel that the idea, yes, I'm a supporter of the BE as an idea, and I'm a supporter of a lot of the policies, but I think a lot of them are just idealistic and not practical. And 30 years later, we can all say that some of those idealistic ideas never bore any
materialized.
Fruits. They never bore fruits practically. So what do we do practically? I feel like about religion too sometimes. I feel like religion is very idealistic.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like I feel like a lot of what we taught is idealistic, and the world is very different to the church or the mosque or whatever, the real world. And I feel like people live one persona in religious space, and then they live another persona in the real world. I used to see this with a church with football.
But can't you implement what you
can implement it
in both worlds?
You can. Do people?
Is it difficult?
Do people usually behave the way they behave in mosque as they behave in real life?
Well, I always say that people believe for a Muslim or Christian that God is only in the mosque of the church. That He's not God. And like I always say this, I say this, but I'm not going to mention the nationality that comes to South Africa, but they come from a majority Muslim country, and they believe God is only there.
Yeah.
And when they come here, they commit a whole lot of sin openly because there's no God here.
Yeah. And they feel like they're out of the...
But then you're blaming the person, not the religion.
No,
I'm blaming the
That's
person.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm blaming his mindset, but he's not scared of God. He's scared of what my community is going to say about me.
Yeah.
So he
But
comes
the
here. No
religion
one here.
doesn't
I used to see this with football.
the religion doesn't
A
teach
church,
No.
right? So a church, these guys wouldn't, like, I don't know in Islam if it's similar, but in Christianity, you guys are not involved. They just come and they go home. You can't ask them a scripture. You can't ask them nothing.
Yeah.
They're just there. And they sit and they quiet and they whatever. They wait for the end of church. Hey, you guys are going to win today. Then they loud. Then they want to talk. Oh, they want to talk about fishing. And I used to always marvel at how these guys were so disengaged.
with their own religion.
Like, but the moment that the service finished, they were like now comfortable and setting themselves. And I'm like, there's a disconnect here. There's something that's not happening that's making them one person. They're two separate people. And a lot of our religion, ours, is performative. We almost put on a performance and then we drop the performance. We move back into who we're really comfortable to be. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of that is idealistic. There needs to be a better bridge between those two worlds of who you really are and who you're pretending to be. Or not who you're pretending to be, but who you feel you need to be in those moments.
Those ones, yeah.
Those two things, those two worlds can... and it might require a less stringent, strict sort of attitude towards people. Like, because I think people do that because people are judged. They feel judged when they themselves. So they put on this persona in those spaces. If you vibe, the way I know you now, and you carried yourself like that in your religious spaces.
I do.
He does.
I do.
But how do people respond to that? How do people respond to that?
The religious scholars love it.
The scholars love it.
The scholars love
And
it.
the people, the ordinary also.
I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks, to be
They
honest.
don't like it.
So that's I'll give you an example, right? Many years ago.
Why do the scholars love it?
I'll give you an example. Many years ago.
Challenges them.
Yeah. So many years ago, I was invited for lunch at one of the scholars' homes. And I'm sitting there eating at a big table, and someone walked in and walked straight to the scholar and said, so-and-so, I have a complaint and blah, blah, blah. And he's complaining about me. And I'm sitting there eating, and I just did this. What the hell is going on here? And he's telling the scholar, you need to speak to Shane, but he doesn't filter what he says. So the scholar, he still doesn't know I'm here. The scholar knows I'm there. The person who's complaining doesn't know that I'm there. So I put the spoon down. Like, oh, fuck. Like, what's going on now? And there's a whole lot of other people there. So the scholar...
This is like surreal.
Yeah, so the scholar turns around and says, the difference between Shaheen and you is Shaheen will tell you what's in his heart so he can go to bed at night and have a good
He
sleep.
said that.
Yeah, I swear to God. The difference between you and him is you won't say what's in your heart. That's why you would not sleep at night. And Shaheen is like me.
He said that.
Yes. He will tell you what's in his heart. I said it done. No hard feelings. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, and I
But
think
you got to be diplomatic the way.
Yeah, but,
That's what I'm saying.
Diplomacy
You
is
gotta understand
diplomacy.
That's what
you
you
got to
gotta
understand
express.
people.
Diplomacy is an opinion. How you view it and how I view it is two different things.
So, but you got to understand people. If you want to get the message across to someone,
100%.
you got to understand who your audience is.
100%, but not everyone doesn't agree with me. Like not everyone agrees with your comedy. Think about this. So diplomacy is interpreted by the individual. There's no unified concept of how it's supposed to be interpreted.
Okay.
Cool with that?
Mates.
Checkmate.
You cool with that?
I'm 100% cool with it.
Okay, then refute it. Refute it.
My point
Refute
is
it.
my point is approach.
Your
You
point-
may be on haq, you may be on truth.
No,
Right?
but
We-
again,
we agree with
approach is
You're
completely
speaking from
different.
your heart and all of that, no problem.
I don't need
But
to.
when the person is someone who's a general, we say awam, just a general person who is there in the situation, and they see you like being extremely overtly,
Yourself.
it then makes them more uncomfortable. So you got to place yourself in the situation.
But
That's
I
what I'm
don't need
saying.
to change myself for anyone.
You're not changing yourself.
I should change myself only for God and my parents. Anyone else
not
can go to
changing
hell.
yourself. You're
Anyone else can go to hell.
Listen. If I'm doing everything right,
Your approach.
if I'm doing everything right in the context of
you want to
religion,
win hearts.
in the context of religion, right? And you don't like my approach, you find my approach too hard. But in the context of religion, I'm fine. But you are interpreting my actions in a derogatory way. But 90% of the other people are not. Should I change for that one and then screw the other 90?
Do you see yourself as a religious person?
No.
You don't.
As a religious person, why not?
No.
Why not? What do you see yourself as?
Spiritual.
What's the difference?
Yeah, what's the difference?
For me, religion, and I had this discussion many times with other colleagues, it becomes very cultural in a way, in the sense that, am I praying because I want to pray, or am I praying because you're telling me to pray?
But the basic.
Am I praying because I actually love God? I always ask this question is, and I always tell people, ask yourself this question. If prayer, so we have a concept called fard, which is obligatory, right? So praying 5 times a day for Muslims is obligatory. You
Which
need to pray.
you do.
Most of it, if I have to be very honest with you, right?
Okay.
So I always ask people, do you pray because you actually want to pray, or do you pray because you're told to pray? Don't answer the question to me. Answer it to yourself. Because you
Told by God, you mean?
Yeah, no. Do I love God enough because I will really want to pray to you? I really want to talk to you? Or am I praying because my parents, I grew up in a household, I told you, hey, if you don't pray, I'm going to smash your head. There's a difference. And a lot of people grow up with the same concept of
the guilt.
that I need to pray, not that I want to pray. There's a difference. Like, do you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I truly, truly love you? I truly love you, God. Allah, whatever you want to call him, I truly love you. Or am I praying because your wife said, hey, bastard, get up, you need to pray. You need to pray.
We need to go to heaven.
You need to go to heaven. You need to do this. You need to do
Shaheed's
that.
telling everyone's going to hell.
There's a difference. No, there's a difference in the concept. And there's a very famous quote. There's a very famous quote in Islam that comes from a lady. Her name is Rabia Basti. And she prays to God and she says, oh God, give me fire in one hand and water in the other hand. With fire, allow me to destroy heaven. So no one worships you with the expectation of getting into heaven. They should worship you out of love. And give me water in the other hand so I can put out the fire of hell so no one worships you out of fear of going to hell. They should worship you because they truly love you.
Do you feel that that's a defining characteristic of your religion? Or when you say you're not religious, you're spiritual? Because
I'm talking about myself. I'm talking
about for yourself.
Yeah.
Because if we're using the word religion is broad, right?
You see, for me, religion is, and I talk about it from my understanding from an Islamic perspective.
Yeah.
I need to be following 100% of what our Prophet, peace be upon him, taught us and left behind. I, unfortunately, don't.
Okay.
I'm still trying. So I'm not the perfect Muslim or the perfect being. I'm trying.
None of us are.
Sorry?
None of us are.
No, I'm talking about myself, right? Because for me, there's no concept that's perfect besides, and again, our understanding, our Prophet, peace be upon him, is the perfect human being.
Creation.
But I try to attain, to get to that position, even though I will never. So from now till the day I die, I will always see myself as a student. Always. You understand? So I'm always learning. And I'm always correcting myself because
improving.
And improving because I make mistakes. So for me to sit here and say,
He
I'm
keeps 4 or 6 making sure you're the right.
So for me, to say that I'm a religious person, I don't think, even if you ask me this question when I'm 100 years old, I would say I'm a religious person. I would never.
But
I would never.
the reason
say
I'm
that.
asking is because, like, in a very basic definition of religion,
Yeah.
it would be like believing in God and following a way.
Yeah.
It wouldn't mean being forced.
No, so for me, being religious is not. That's the basic understanding of it. For me, the understanding of it is going deeper. Am I doing everything I'm supposed to be doing? Am I fasting? Am I giving?
For the
charity?
true reason.
For the true
Would
reason.
you consider
that's
yourself
a-
religious?
I don't know. Again, it's about definition.
By your own definition.
By my own definition, yes. I'm religious. I'm spiritual. Both of them.
Subhanallah.
I would say. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm saying
You
I'm
regard yourself as
as in-
religious.
What's that?
You regard yourself as religious.
Absolutely.
Oh wow.
As in, I follow. In my definitions, I follow a path that I believe is the created by God, and I follow His laws.
Okay, so
That's-
my understanding of
that's-
it.
that's how I
I
look
don't
at
think
religious.
confuse the word religious with are you holy? Like, are you special?
Right. So I think
No,
I'm
not that.
Because
That's I don't understand.
I think we both are interpreting the word religious
That's why I was
completely
asking.
differently.
I think there's a general interpretation
Yes.
of religious.
I'm looking at it as a deeper meaning. That am I doing everything that our prophet, peace be upon him, said for us to do? I'm not. So that's how I look at. That's how I understand the word.
But then no one is
Religious.
religious then.
But then I was
Again, it's my understanding.
In your definition,
I don't
no one
really
can be
give a shit
religious.
what you think.
No, no one can be religious then in your definition because
Checkmate.
No, but again, the way you follow this and the way you understand it is open to you. For
I'm
me,
just saying in your definition, no one can be religious if you can't be, if you think religious is perfect.
yeah, but listen.
Religious is not perfect.
Listen, this is for me.
I'm saying in your, I'm
Yeah,
saying that within your.
But I'm not looking at you. I'm not looking at. I'm not
Don't look
looking
at
at
me.
him.
I'm saying in your definition, then no one.
This is
can
only
be.
for me.
Okay.
This is only for me. This is
This is a shame.
how you understand it and
The
what
laws of
you do
shame.
is completely different to how I understand it. And my journey to God is my personal journey.
Yeah.
I always tell people, if you want to go stand on your head and go and pray to God that way, then do it. It's your personal journey. I shouldn't interrupt that.
Do you think there's ways to access God? So you give an example of if you want to stand on your head, go do it. But do you think that there are actual like ways to access God?
Yes.
Or can we literally just do our own thing?
As in
No.
prayer. What are we
No, I'm
talking
saying
about?
like
You don't want guidance from God.
No,
Guidance
I'm
from God is just, you don't need to do anything special.
No.
It's a
not that.
communication.
Not-
I can sit right now and communicate with God. I don't need to be in a spiritual state or anything like that. Guidance, I believe, if this God is true, which I do believe, then guidance is at any point. I don't have to be. But there are ways in that I believe through energy that you need to be tapping into.
Going down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
energy.
therefore, prayer to me, like how Muslims pray, is a point of energy where you're putting your head on the ground, you're lowering yourself. Those are methods that you're able to connect better. But I'm saying you can connect in any moment with God.
So
I agree with
and
that.
ask
So
for
I
guidance.
look at service to God is in me myself in the humanitarian sector. I serve God's creation. So that's for me. That's my service to Him, serving His creation. That's how But again, that's my journey. I'm not talking about prayer that we have to do, as in the 5 times and stuff there. I'm talking about over and above that. So for me, being a humanitarian is service to God, because I serve His people. That's how I understand it.
I want to ask you. I'm tempted to ask you a question.
Ask
I don't know.
anything.
You'll be lucky if you get an answer.
It's a podcast. Ask anything.
Why are you humanitarian?
I love helping people.
I get that, but
That's the only reason.
It's a psychological thing.
I love. I've come to the point where I don't know if you're gonna podcast this, right?
It's a live podcast.
But I've come to a point
We're
where
on TikTok live.
I think through my
oh, you're on TikTok.
through the work I do as a humanitarian, I've come to realize that I struggle now to help those that beg,
Who are openly beggars.
who are openly begging.
But I'm not putting any effort.
Wait,
So
what is the
I prefer
definition
now
of begging?
effort. So I will actually go.
What is the definition of begging? Like literally
Someone
saying,
standing at a street corner and like
a
on
street
the road
corner,
here,
but not someone
and
who comes to you and says, "Listen,
I'm
I've
begging.
lost my job. I need."
No. I right now, and I've only realized this in the last couple of years of my life. I love helping those that are trying to help themselves. I will move heaven and earth to help you if I can see you helping yourself. Because in the sector, we've come across a lot of people that have become very, very lazy, because you know every month one organization is paying your rent, the other organization is giving you food, the other organization is paying your education, and you live your life that way. And then you realize 10, 12 years goes by, now your kid is doing the exact same thing. So we haven't really taken you out of poverty. So for me, I actually go, this personal story, I go to the airport. I fly a lot. And most times, I will get my shoes polished or cleaned. Not because I need to. Yeah. I don't need to. But because I'm paying this guy and I'm giving him a tip. Because the man is trying. How much money do you think you're taking home from polishing people's shoes every day? And most probably, you're not actually, it's not your business. You're working for someone.
Yeah, it's working for someone.
Yeah. That's what he's taught me. He's taught me when we give tips, when at restaurants or the bouses at the prayer, he's like, just give them as much as you want. Give those are the guys who are working.
Because they're actually trying.
Yeah.
And if we can't help.
It's a measly salary.
If we can't help those that are trying, what use are we?
This is what the guy was trying to get across when he was, maybe I didn't communicate it clearly, but when he was explaining that after the looting, we who are in power have to do more. And I think I always think of those examples of the Bowsers, the petrol guys, petrol attendants. Like it's a great opportunity for you to give something to someone.
Like I don't understand, you'll give a waiter 200 rand.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, but you go to the Bowser boy who's earning more or less the same thing.
And you're spending 1,700 to fill your tank up.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I mean, like, I don't get
You give
that.
170 rand.
Yeah, 10%.
I mean, what you give what you can, whatever it is, right?
But these also cultures develop, right? The waiting culture and the tipping culture in restaurants. It's something that's over time, like, ingrained and almost expected. Almost like, you didn't give a tip. What kind of a barbarian are you?
I agree with that. But that's why, for me, I started tipping more to Bowser boys.
Yeah. Makes more sense to me.
And I love the fact that I find someone from a different religion. For me personally, will say, oh my God, I prayed for this morning. And this is what God has sent you to me.
Opportunity to give someone.
And even though it's someone come from a completely different belief system to you, for me, that excites me. It really makes me happy.
Would it
that I was a vessel for whatever you believe in, because I have my own understanding of this. But I won't mention it to him. Yeah. Like, oh my God, God used me to help you.
We got 8 minutes left.
All right, cool.
I love that for me. And I think that excites me to do more to help more people. Yeah. So for me, it's the more I someone asked me, it was my birthday in February. Someone asked me, what's your motto for this year? I won't give you my age. And I said,
I'm 41.
I'm older. I said, to make more so I could give more. Because I've come to realize, and I mentioned to Nazir a lot, that when you give without hesitation, in Islam we have a concept. It's called sadaqah, to give charity. And a smile is a form of charity. Right. So if I have nothing and if I smile at you, imagine you go somewhere and someone's standing with a can, you got nothing. Instead of saying, hey, F off, you smile at a guy, he smiles back, you made his day. That
even like make a joke, say, sorry boss, next time, like that, where it's like a...
And I also believe there can never be, again, this is my only understanding from religion, there can never be a time in your life when you say things are bad. But whatever comes from God. My belief system.
Unless you're trying to book me.
Yeah.
Muslim guys say, how's it covered?
Things are bad.
Yeah. And then, especially when you come to your friends and the conversation for the last fucking 10 years is, things are bad. Like, bro,
gosh.
You need to change your life or do something completely
your language at least.
Yeah, the conversation for the last 10 years, things are bad. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, I'll pay for your coffee, no problem.
Yeah.
But for the last 10 years or 15 years, and this is why, I always tell people, your friends need to evolve as you evolve.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I will tell you a funny story just about this. One of the banks, I won't mention which one, asked me to do a gig for them. And I was like, cool. And they said, hey, but Carvin, we're coming to you cap in hand just to say if you can give us a good rate. I said to them,
a bank?
You the bank. How can you come to me? Cap in hand. An ordinary citizen who got loans with you. You asking me? She literally said cap in hand. I was like, cap in hand.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, how can you come to me, cap in hand? You've got all the money in the world in your accounts. She's like, oh yeah, I know this. Anyway, they at the end of the conversation, they agreed to pay the full rate. All right. Because they were just like, everyone takes chances.
But that's our problem as a community as well. We expect friends and people we know to give us a discount.
Yeah,
You won't go to checkers and say, Yeah, I spent $3,000. Yeah. How's a $5 discount?
$3,000.
You will never do that there.
They say,
But I guess-
you got a rewards card.
Where's the rewards card?
Yeah, we don't support each other's success.
Yeah.
And we don't support each other's
That's a
business.
great
Look,
way.
I
That's a
don't,
great
I don't
way.
mind giving people like a discount here and there, depending on the circumstances, like if it's a little bit here and there. But I won't lie. There's certain like portions of our community that almost demand it.
Yeah.
It's like standard.
That's why I told Nazir, inflate your price.
Yeah.
So when a discount comes, you
Yeah.
get your price you actually want.
Which is a weird thing. Lin. I'm at the point where I put my price on our website. I'm not giving you a special price. I'm like, you can go read it. You can see it there.
Yeah.
You can decide what you want to do with that. Like,
Yeah.
So there's no like I'm making it up on the spot for you.
But you built yourself to get to that
Yeah.
stage.
Well, I also feel better knowing that, we both know that that's what's happening. Like, I'm not giving you one and you one. Like, look at it. That's it.
Understand my value.
Yeah. And then, like, you can decide. You can tell me your comment, but we'd like to put it twice. Okay, twice we can do a deduction. Whatever. Yeah.
Carvin, it's been a pleasure
been
having
a
you in the
pleasure,
studio.
man.
And there's so much more we still want to talk about.
Yeah, I enjoyed interviewing you guys.
Yeah, you were sitting there asking
Checkmates.
us questions.
Checkmates.
we
Was a
wish
good
you all
one.
the best and
Yeah.
and hope to see you soon back in
Yeah,
studio.
for sure. It's been fun.
And hopefully
being,
you'll give us a free show.
and I enjoyed your perspectives.
Yes,
I enjoyed learning your perspectives too. So,
Likewise. Thank you so
and your
much.
personal journeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, in different areas.
Like a bro.
I hope they give you more PE jobs.
Yeah.
So one piece of advice for fellow South Africans.
Yeah.
What
So,
would you say?
all South Africans.
All South Africans.
Or the ones just watching this podcast.
Well, we're quite famous. Let's be real.
and,
Right?
and to the Nigerians that are watching.
In the
To the
Nigerians. Yeah.
Nigerians. You can actually do it in a Nigerian accent.
Yeah.
My brother, when you come to this country, come to us, you're very safe here. We are going to look after you at a Mindscaped. When they ask you who you came to see, you came to see Shaheen and Nasjam. Mindscaped. These are your sponsors.
Sponsor.
To the rest of South Africa, those that are listening, wish you the best in 2026 and beyond. And most important for me is that you look at your life and you look at where you are and you re-engineer the life that you like and work for that going forward. I'm a believer in re-engineering. I would like to see myself there. So I did my first ever comedy show. I saw myself on a stage at the Playhouse, and then I worked back to see how can I get there. And so that's one way of living life, to make sure that the life that you have now and the life that you envision, you have a clear path to it.
Thank you. From us in Mindscape Podcast. See you next time.
This episode is sponsored by Penny Appeal South Africa. Penny Appeal South Africa is a dynamic humanitarian organization dedicated to breaking the cycle of poverty through sustainable, life-changing programs. From providing emergency relief and clean water to supporting orphan care, education, and food security, we empower vulnerable communities with dignity and hope. Our innovative, cost-effective approach ensures that small contributions create a big impact, transforming lives across South Africa and beyond. Join us in making a difference, because together, we can turn small change into a powerful force for good.